Okay, I hope everybody can hear me. I'm actually live streaming on 4 separate platforms today. So we're streaming on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Patreon. And I'm not sure, my computer might break, but hopefully it does not. Just making sure that all of this is caught up. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. Thank you. What's up? What's going on? I'm a little bit early today. You know, I don't know. I had a wild hair about me. What can I say? But just let me know if it lags or anything, because that might be a problem as we go on, especially when I start playing stuff. But good evening, goys and gays. How are you doing? Did you miss me? You know, I'm here to absolve you of all anti-Semitism, either past, present, or future. And this extends to any of your alleged co-conspirators, by the way, who may have colluded in vile acts of anti-Semitism throughout the course of your prolific anti-Semitic career. That's right. I am giving you and your cohorts a sweetheart deal in honor of our fallen comrade, Jeffrey Manischewitz, Leibowitz, Yerushalayim Epstein, also known as Palm Beach Pete. Right? So I thought we could begin by saying, by showing you, sorry, I had a little lapse. I think I had a stroke just a second ago. I wanted to start by showing you this podcast. It's really long, but after I streamed last night, I put this on, and I caught the first couple minutes of it, and I thought it was really, really good. And here it is. This is a podcast from Tom Bilyeu and Simon Dixon. I think Simon Dixon's the guy that is giving the analysis. He's like a geopolitical analyst. I don't know much about him, but what he's saying here, I think, makes a lot of sense. He's talking about how this is all deliberate. Everything that's happening with Iran and China and all this stuff worldwide, it's all deliberate. That the managerial Epstein class is basically tanking America on purpose. They realize that it's the end of the line, and so they're cashing in. This is something that I talk about on stream, and I like hearing other people speak about this topic because I think it's accurate, because I think we have to remember that everything in this world is not a coincidence. Once we integrate and assimilate and connect the dots, once we acquire enough real-world experience, we all shift. Our minds begin to integrate. We are all left with the conclusion that everything we see is a contrivance of some sort. And of course, I'm speaking here largely of world-shaping events, but I'm also speaking of how those world-shaping events affect smaller events that might happen in our daily lives, like going to the gas station, for example, and realizing you can't afford gas. We just take that as a sometimes like acceptable burden, right? The markets fluctuate on a wing and a prayer. Well, that's all bullshit, of course, and everything is political, and big events are felt and echoed and reflected in smaller ones. So the singular executive decision to go to war with Iran affects us all in our daily lives. I think everyone would agree with that. The point is that everything is connected. And if we understand that everything is connected, that smaller waves dissipate from larger waves, we have to start wondering who or what is setting off these larger waves. Think of how so much of the veil has been lifted these past few years. It's like the hood of the car has been lifted, and we're getting a real good look at the guts of this engine that runs our world. And we see how contrived it all is. How much meddling, sabotage, treachery, sheer effort and scale, the amount of money thrown at contriving things, controlling the market, so that no matter what happens, they always end up richer and more powerful, fooling all of us along the way, hoodwinking us. And they buy off everything. They blackmail everyone. They astroturf, they co-opt, psyop, and panopt everyone. and they elevate the ones that they control, right? Bribes, blackmail, bloodshed, and when necessary, if they're lucky, bombs, especially big bombs. So anyway, let's take a quick look at this. See if it's of value. Again, I only caught the first few minutes of it, but I thought he was cooking. So let's take a look at this.
I think there's a small group of power structures that sit above countries that are running the show. There's no political solution in the West. There's no democracy, it's all a lie. The government is a distraction. The left versus the right is a complete distraction. You need a theatrical moment to define the end of empire and the transition to the New World Order. So there is a way of breaking the system if we wanted, but they don't want you to know that.
What's the way?
What is the way?
You have a very atypical way of viewing the power structures that actually make the world go round. And so I actually want to start there. Is it fair to say that there is a small group of people that sit above countries that are actually running the show?
I think there's a small group of power structures that sit above countries that are running the show.
What is a power structure?
I like to call them complexes. I think the world really understood the military-industrial complex as a group of companies and countries that have corporate interests that profit from war and that sell weapons. And so whether that be America, UK, France, Germany...
Kind of reminds me of Michael Hudson's analysis, the Marxist economist, one of the few and the proud, when he says that the modern state is nothing more than a collection agency for the banks to create war debts. And after I heard that, I was like, yeah. I mean, it's basically the banks that control everything, the banks that profiteer from war and, engineering war.
Israel, that had a group of companies from Lockheed Martin, General Dynamic, Raytheon, Boeing, BAE Systems. It is a group of companies that have a well-oiled machine that requires a continual source of revenue that is derived from more profitable is war and less profitable is defense contracts. And their revenue has to continue. And structurally, they have fiduciary duties to shareholders. And they have...
This is, he's describing capitalism without saying that word. But this is a point that other leftists make that, no matter what, a CEO, despite if he's a good family man or if he has moral principles, he knows right and wrong and he wants to do good, he's structurally mandated to oppose those principles because, like he said, these people have fiduciary responsibilities to shareholders.
To report quarterly earnings, and you can see in those quarterly earnings where most of their revenue comes from, and it gives you clues as to where the next war zone will be.
Sort of like the composite man theory, right, that we talk about, that, the stock market is best understood as if it's the machinations and manipulations of one entity or one person. And then if you can view it in that framework, then you can better understand the stock market. You can, go with what the currents.
So I use
and make money off that
just reading those balance sheets and where the contracts are to determine where the next war zones will be, because they prepare. And so you can see narrative ratchets up in politics, but before that, contracts and revenue move. And so the military-industrial complex is an important part of it. But there is a greater power than the military-industrial complex, and that is the financial-industrial complex. And so the financial-industrial complex does not have ultimate power to one institution or one organization.
Fiduciary? Let's see. I don't know. What is fiduciary? I feel it's a financial term, right? It's like I take it as like the profit incentive. A fiduciary is a person or organization legally and ethically entrusted to manage money or property for the benefit of someone else. So they're legally mandated to make profits for the benefit of someone else, in this case, the institutional shareholders, the institutional investors. They are bound by a fiduciary duty. This is all capitalist legalese, in my estimation, requiring them to put their clients' best interests above their own and act with complete loyalty, care, and good faith. Okay, that's the AI response to that. So there you go. The feudo-cherry, there it is.
Just like the military-industrial complex, it is a group of companies that perform very specific functions. And through controlling the creation of fiat currencies and the movement of capital globally, they're able to influence and subordinate countries in order to get access to capital. And there's all sorts of different layers within there. The final layer is the reason that I put finance above military is because all of those military companies are public companies. And so they need access to capital. They can either get it from the government through tax, through bonds, or they can get it from capital markets. And so bondholders, shareholders, and the government is just another form of bondholder, really, because it's just a piggy bank for bondholders. They're able to influence those capital flows, and therefore governments need access to such capital. And they have all sorts of subordination structures, whether it be lobbying, whether it be deep state black op operations for blackmail, or whether it be just straight up access to capital markets. But one of the other complexes that is incredibly important is the technological industrial complex. And so that is, the 50% of the S&P is, like the Magnificent Seven companies now almost. Right. And that includes...
Most of like the investments in the American economy come from the, Silicon Valley high-tech economy. It's where all of our money is invested. Like you just said, half of the S&P.
Access from data centers, algorithms.
Like all of the biggest conglomerate transnational companies that are headquartered in the United States are tech companies.
The ability to engineer via neo media and perform operations by controlling algorithms. Again, the technical industrial complex is a series of companies. They normally, they are subordinate to finance because they need access to capital. So if you're trying to simplify it down, I call it a financial industrial complex, and governments serve their agendas, and governments are subordinate to
a supranational class of finance capitalists. It's a good phrase there to kind of encapsulate who rules the world. Noam Chomsky, before his fall to grace, he put it very succinctly. See if I can remember. I tried to memorize it at one point. He said, somebody asked him, who rules the world? He said it's basically an array of mega corporations strategically linked in alliances, what's known as alliance capitalism, and they converge and coalesce to Now, see, it's been years since I remember his definition, but basically, it's these huge transnational corporations that control all of the wealth and all the resources and all the policies, and they subdue any recalcitrant elements within the society by using the state as a weapon against the public, basically.
Control grids and structures.
Okay, so far we have three named power structures. We have the financial industrial complex, which sits on top of everything. Mm-hmm. We have the military industrial complex, which seems to be something that has found a very profitable way to benefit from what I'll call human tendencies. And then we have the technological industrial complex, which feels, if I'm interpreting it right, relatively new. So are these complexes something that arise organically, that will always exist no matter what structure, no matter how countries...
I can answer that question with one word: no.
...are aligned? Or was this something where somebody sat down and said, here are the 3 ways in which we can manipulate the public, and we just have to get this set up? And it was very intentional. And it was like, okay, you're going to be the financial industrial complex, you're going to be the military. Like, how did that come? Is this a top down or a bottom up phenomenon?
Baby brained.
Yeah, I mean, it evolves with time and adjusts with time. But throughout human history, we've had different labels for very similar systems, whether it's a country having a monarchy, or whether it's a democracy, or whether it's, whatever government structure. It's always a few incredibly wealthy people that rule the masses and co-opt the system and just put a different label on top of it. But in terms of if we were to simplify this down to the modern version of it today, and we could go back thousands of years if we wanted, but if we were to simplify it down,
I think Castro would like a word with you. I think Xi Jinping would like a word with you. I think Ho Chi Minh would like a word with you.
I'd say it's central banking at the base layer. And the ability to create currency in a Ponzi-like structure has a series of incentives that lead us to a game of Monopoly that it ultimately concentrates power in normally, historically, one region. But now it's increasingly more transnational and global, and is less dependent upon any one country or jurisdiction.
Okay, let's stop there, because I think for anybody hearing that for the first time, there are enough phrases in there that they won't necessarily understand. So the reason that the central bank sits at the bottom of this pyramid is because we are in an economic structure where the money is fictional. And so we just have to get everybody to grant this bank has the power to create money. Is that how they exist at the bottom of this structure?
So if we were to put this into a triangle, the central bank is the guarantor of the system. But
what's the system?
The monetary system.
Okay.
And so let's start at the base layer, how money is created in very brief terms. Money is created by a private commercial bank. And so a loan has to exist in order for a bank to create a credit, which is the money supply. And so if you want to borrow $1,000, then you go to a bank, and that bank has a authority and license to create $1,000 to deposit into your current account.
And who gave them that license? The government or the central bank itself?
Regulated by the central bank, but the license, the law, the legislation comes from Congress and from the government.
Okay, I don't want to derail this story too hard, but when you were laying out the initial 3 structures of power, government wasn't listed as a 4th. It was talked about as being subordinate to finance, but so was the military industrial complex. And one of the things we will have to answer for in all of this is the people. And as I have tried to map your worldview, the people do start to become like these mindless, easy to control things, feels like the base assumption. And so is there a difference between an easy to control population and the government that they elect?
I think that the people have very little say in who gets elected. I think the lobby is the most significant player.
The lobby or lobbies?
Lobbies.
Okay.
And there are several.
The act of what, using money to influence politicians, or is there something deeper there?
Yeah, I see politicians as actors, WWE actors.
Yep.
Their job is to create an acceptable narrative to justify why all of the money is serving a smaller group of private corporate interest.
Okay, so it's bread, circus, and government.
Yes.
So those are the things that if you're well-fed, if you're entertained, and you have a plausible story of like, oh, I can influence this system, you can numb the people out enough that the power structures that are actually, and I'll say, when I say running the system, I think you mean controlling
JFK. I appreciate that.
Resources and money such that they can acquire the highest utility thing in the world, which is access to capital?
Well, money is just a construct to end up with the assets that they actually want, which
Money's just like a construct, man.
the real estate, the gold, the hard assets, the real assets. By being able to create the money, they're able to swap money, as value that is designed, as we were about to go into, to go down in value in exchange for assets that are designed to go up in value. And so what they actually want is resources, strategic choke points, commodities, real estate, land, gold, more recently Bitcoin. And so they are just using a fiat currency system in order to acquire assets. And then eventually, in a cyclical nature, the slow destruction of purchasing power of that fiat currency hits the point where it gets to an end of a cycle, and therefore they throw the monopoly board, reset the board, and start again.
Shit.
And that's where I think we are right now. That's a typical, it can take a decade or two in order to manage such a transition. But I think we're there right now.
We'll be right back with the show. But first, let's talk about how exposed you really are.
Let's not do that.
Let's say you cut someone off in traffic.
Let's just watch a few more. Let's see. This is the most replayed part of the clip, so let's go back over here. Make sure he's done his little cell
there. But for that to make sense in terms of the mechanism, we need to put a bow on these different power structures. So when I first encountered your ideas, the one thing that I had a hard time accepting was there's a sense of coordination that I don't believe humans are capable of. And the reason I think that is when you look at a TV show like Succession, I think that it reveals something true about people that play these very intense power games, which is it requires somebody who's, I'm going to round this stuff, but narcissistic, hyper aggressive, low in empathy. And so they'll be fighting within their own family to make sure that, like, if a father has a very aggressive son, that the son is kept in check. And so they'll do horrible things to their own children to make sure that they're subservient to them. And so if they're willing to do that to their own family, I have a hard time buying that there's this hyper cooperative group of elites that exist above this system. Now, you've been very clear to say these are
fair counterpoint, don't you think?
Power structures. And so that's probably the first important piece of this. But are these power structures not in competition internally for control of the Fed, the Pentagon, the whatever? Like they're going to be...
I'm thinking of the Powell memo right now, how, they know that they need to stay organized and, converge against the public, who is the real enemy. And that was expressed by Lewis Powell in 1971 or so. And they heeded that call, it's corporate class war. And they understood to think of themselves less as in competition with each other, but actually allied with each other in fucking over the public, to put it bluntly.
Already be infighting, and then there's going to be a war happening between the financial industrial complex, the technical industrial complex. Like, they will have their own wars.
There might be like skirmishes, I guess, maybe between them, but I think they all understand who the real enemy is.
So how should people understand how this machine will be capable of doing the thing we're going to go to next, which is literally go bleed England dry, then bleed America dry, and now presumably we'll move on to China and bleed China dry? Like, how is it possible for that level of coordination to exist?
Yeah. So I think firstly, it is a ruthless game. And just like in a mafia, there is a hierarchy, and preservation of the structure overwrites anyone that tries to deviate and play a power play. And so structure and architecture become really important. And so people...
Do you have real world examples of where a person challenged the structure and was dealt with?
I think JFK is one of the most obvious examples in terms of American. I mean, there's example after example. I mean, we could even go more into questioning what happened with Trump. what happened with Charlie Kirk. I think
Please.
let's go I think a layer back. So the monetary system is a Ponzi scheme by nature. So I talked about that all money is created as credit. And so if you want to create $1,000, it has to be borrowed into existence. That is the nature of money. It's just a digital entry in a bank's computer. But it also needs to be repaid plus interest. And so the game that was engineered in firstly the Dutch Empire, then the British Empire, then 3 times in America with the central banks, and then global central banking that exists today, is that there's not enough money to pay the interest. And
it just literally doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. So there's only 2 ways of solving that problem. The money either needs to be invested in an asset that appreciates in value that can then cover some of the interest, or you keep rolling over the debt. And so that is the game. The game is that if too much of that money is just invested in non-performing assets, then the system breaks, because when you repay that loan or default on that loan, the money disappears. And so you have the reverse cycle. And so every time that happens, you need a guarantor to the system. So the banks get to create the money and they receive the additional interest. And the only way to do it is to roll over. And so they have a risk management profile of who they should be lending to in order to meet that goal.
Because the system must grow at all times to continue working.
Absolutely, yes. And that creates an incentive structures in all sorts of levels, at the individual level, the corporate level, the government level. But the central banking system was created to guarantee the system. And so the central banking model effectively does a couple of things. It guarantees
Chairman Mao, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate that.
when a bank takes excessive risk, that they're too big to fail, as we saw in 2008, and therefore the government is on the hook in order to bail out the system, which creates a moral hazard, which means that bad behavior, you can be over speculative knowing that you'll be guaranteed.
That's right.
And the
capitalists require a government insurance policy to keep their businesses afloat.
thing it does is it creates mechanisms for the government to infinitely borrow. And so the bond market, it can be a buyer of last resort for a government that can no longer find people to invest in their debt. That's where we're at right now. So in America, the auctions, approximately 40% of the auctions are now being mopped up by reserve brokers and the Federal Reserve itself. And remember, gone a bit far here, but the Federal Reserve is owned by the banks. So
there's the link to this video, by the way. I saw some of you were asking.
Shareholders of the Fed are the banks. And as you put more and more money or government debt on that balance sheet of the Fed, they even receive a 6% dividend per year from that money. So the bigger the balance sheet gets, the more they get.
Profits.
But the banks are taking the risk.
All usury, man. It goes back to usury.
The government just effectively becomes a piggy bank for rolling over this debt. And then they want to make sure that the debt goes to them. So the government is the other half of that. And the government's job is to take on...
The name of the video is they're deliberately winding down America. Here's the plan for what comes next. And this is Simon Dixon who's speaking. And he's on Tom Bilyeu's podcast, Bilyeu. It's called Impact Theory.
On the debt. And then you need a mechanism for getting that debt into private control, which is the stock market. So the stock market is make sure that debt goes to prop up these stocks or contracts. And so they need a lobby in order to make sure that they can have an auction system.
It's crazy.
Where all of the politicians become as useful to all these different lobbies, and they auction them off, and your career only progresses if you deliver enough value for the lobbies. And that is the career. The career of a politician is to make up a narrative to pretend that he's doing stuff for the people,
Thinking
Well-
of Lindsey Graham right now.
serving the lobby. And the more useful they get to the lobby, you ultimately may get to play president.
Yep.
Very interesting. I think it is. It's important for people to understand that you say the lobby as if it's one thing, but it's really a bunch of competing interests. Is that true or false?
True.
Because in America right now, in this moment, when people hear the lobby, they think APAC. And so it triggers what Michael Malice would call a mousetrap of like, it's a Jew.
Anti-Semitism.
And so, and maybe that is the theory, maybe it's not. But when I think of it as this is a whole bunch of competing interests, but they're all motivated by the same thing, which is I want access to power and capital. So to your point about structurally, they're not arguing. Maybe about the specifics they are. But there's two things I think important. One, people need to understand that lobbies find their candidates very early. So they'll find them at the city level.
Right.
And they'll say, go do this thing. And if they go do that thing, then they fund them more. And then they say, go do this thing.
That's what that was a leaked phone call from an APAC meeting behind closed doors, and it got leaked, and they were bragging. The guy, I think it was the head of APAC, or something like that. He was bragging about how the current CIA director, John Radcliffe, they found him, like he's saying, at like the state city level, and look at where he is now. He's had a great career. We bankrolled him the whole way.
And then if they do it, they fund them more. So by the time they get to the national stage, even if it's just that they really believe those same things and they really are fighting with their conscience, but they have the lobby, meaning the lobbies, any one of them, when they're looking for candidates, they start with a really broad field. And then only the ones that are useful to them, even if it's useful, again, out of their own true beliefs, they find the ones that will serve their interests the best. That's an important thing to note. And then second, we need to understand the mechanism by which all of this is funneled into the stock market. And you said it happens, but can you walk us through how it happens?
Yeah. So let's do an example of lobbies. So
Good
J.D.
setup.
Vance, for example. His name's not J.D. Vance. He was groomed by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is a key node in the technical industrial complex. And he was DARPA funded, which is a venture capital arm of intelligence and military. And he created Palantir. And he is given military grade technology that was created by the government with a Pentagon budget.
Let's just review on DARPA. Oops. I think we can just think of it as like a defense contract, basically, for Silicon Valley. DARPA was the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. It is the premier research and development agency of the U.S. Department of Defense, tasked with creating breakthrough technologies to maintain U.S. national security and prevent technological surprise. It is renowned for funding high-risk, high-reward projects that push the boundaries of science. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Intel, that huge transnational corporation Intel, which designed I forgot what the flagship microchip that they innovated, but I think that was through DARPA, through the funding of DARPA. So it was established in February of 1958 by Dwight D. Eisenhower in direct response to the Soviet Union's Sputnik launch. Its mission to make pivotal investments in breakthrough technologies for national security, focusing on transformational rather than incremental upgrades. What companies were bankrolled by DARPA? Is that the way to think of it? DARPA has bankrolled thousands of companies over the decades, ranging from early stage startups to massive defense conglomerates. Rather than investing traditional equity like a venture capitalist, DARPA bankrolls companies by awarding massive, non-dilutive research contracts, grants, and small business innovation research funding. So this is another way of saying your tax-paying money has created the profits for all of these major Silicon Valley high-tech companies. Silicon Valley giants, let's see, in the early stages, many of tech's household names wouldn't exist in their current form without foundational early stage DARPA funding. Apple, Qualcomm, Keyhole, iRobot. I'm surprised they didn't say Intel. Also Moderna, Palantir, of course, Lockheed Martin. Massive multinational defense contractors are DARPA's primary performers when it comes to massive physical hardware, stealth, and hypersonic aviation. Boeing's in there too, of course. All right, let's go back.
That is then transferred over to private through private, private-public partnerships. And so
that's why they say the Pentagon is the funnel for tax-paying money to be, funneled to private corporations. That's what the Pentagon's role is.
So every piece of
Under
technology,
the guise of national security, of course.
almost every single one of them, if you do a similar forensic investigation, it was all of the American innovation was originally invented for killing people. And it was handed over.
That's true. That's why we have microchips, by the way, because we needed to bomb a bridge in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. I forgot the name of the bridge, but it was bombed like hundreds of times. They always missed. That's because they didn't have guided precision missiles yet. And they solved this. They eventually did bomb the bridge. They didn't win the war, but they did bomb the bridge. And they did that through the invention of this microchip. And I think it was Intel that innovated it.
To a company, and they groom entrepreneurs and create a story around that entrepreneur that is often very sensationalist. But they are often chosen to receive that technology.
Now,
in that
who's
company.
the they in this situation? Are we back to the lobbies or? Because I look
the
at Peter
complexes.
Thiel, and I may have, this may just be me with a completely distorted view of what's real, but I look at Peter Thiel and I think this guy's smart. And he has been out there talking about the way that he views the world and how things should be for a very long time. Since the time he was at Stanford, he's been working with David Sachs. They wrote a book together. Like, this isn't somebody who I would say is obviously a product of some other thing. This feels like a guy that really knows his shit. Now, people call him the Antichrist. I'm not debating that. I'm just saying he's very effective. I would put forward that he's effective without whatever secret thing is behind the scenes. Now, he may be amplified by getting access to things other people don't get to. But help me understand, do you see him as somebody that was groomed like from 19, 20 years old, or?
Yeah, there's a spectrum, right? And everyone's got their own different story. But there is a process, just like when you want to climb a mafia, there's a process of becoming more useful to the financial industrial complex and getting access to capital. Mm-hmm. And J.D. Vance is a good example. So he was groomed by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is very much involved in the police and surveillance state, military grade artificial intelligence technology that is getting global government contracts right now to commit crimes against humanity in many countries, including Gaza. So it was Palantir's technology that was deciding, I call it genocide as a service. I call what they're doing in West Bank occupation as a service. I call what they're doing with pre-crime arrests and scraping social media data in the UK as pre-crime Palantir technology. But anyway, so if you're in a mafia, they first try and bring you in. They put you in a compromised situation where you're desperate. This happens when they build militias all around the world and various other things through war zones. Then you get some financing. If you're trying to achieve something, there's different degrees of this model. If you are useful with that financing, you get more financing. And if you're useful with that, you get more financing. And then eventually you hit a level where you have to join a compromise network. And so this is often, when I worked in investment banking, there was a level where I got to where they want me being a bit more degenerate.
This is a good time. Give us a quick rundown of your background, then we'll pick back up with the degenerate offer.
my background is I used to work in investment banking. I started in stockbroking. I was basically selling shares. I then worked in market making. I learned that that's all about market manipulation for the financial industrial complex.
And do you feel you were being groomed at this point?
Yes.
Knowingly, like, hi, I'm Bob, I'm here to groom you? Or
No.
they were just like seeing if you would rise up the ranks?
There's a culture which makes you succeed, and there's a culture which won't let you succeed. And so when I went to corporate finance, where I was helping companies go public and constructing some of these types of plans where you scenario plan and figure out, okay, what contract would you get in this type of war zone, and various other types of constructions in investment banking, they want you compromised. And so, you know, it starts with inviting you to parties. It then involves asking you
Wild parties on islands.
to, you know, do things at parties, whether it be drugs, whether it be sleeping with prostitutes, whether it be any of that, because they want you in the compromised network. They need you where they've got something on you.
Blackmails, bribes, and bloodshed, baby.
If you choose not to partake, you're not going to progress. You know, I left in 2006, and I could see who succeeded and who doesn't succeed. Once you have compromise, and if you're at the higher echelons of compromise, you've got very sophisticated networks, like the Epstein revelations. You know, then everything's about leverage. And the more you succeed, so you've got to remember, most people think of Peter Thiel as a wealthy billionaire. I think of a billionaire as somebody that has $1 billion of gold or could send $1 billion of Bitcoin. Most people's net worth is dependent upon compliance with the financial industrial complex. Even Elon Musk. Elon Musk was allowed to buy Twitter because he was able to place his Tesla stock as collateral in order to get a loan from the financial industrial complex, whether that be JP Morgan or Citi. Then he is told what investors will be co-investing, which is the Gulf Sovereign Wealth Funds, other transnational capital. And then he is constructed with share options where if his share price goes up, then his net worth increases. But they lever his net worth to the kill so that if he ever does not comply, then they can knock down the share price and they can knock down his net worth and draw him back into compliance. And we've seen that with Elon Musk a lot. You know, when we've had these tit for tat with Trump, when we've had, you know, focus on Tesla. Oh, now you get Goldman Sachs is giving you a $2 trillion SpaceX IPO. You have to, by your fiduciary duty to shareholders, and who are those shareholders? BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, Transnational Capital, Gulf Sovereign Wealth Funds, Chinese shell companies. Once you work for transnational capital, once you are trying to, at the highest level, IPO, your net worth is dependent upon compliance with the financial industrial complex by design. By design. They create subordinate structures through the process of securitization, through debt, through compromised networks, through leverage, through blackmail operations. And the higher you want to go, the more compromised you generally are.
Do you have a sense of what Elon was doing that got the tit for tat with Trump to trigger? If that really was, you know, the power structures bumping him back in line, what was it? What was he doing that they didn't like?
Yeah, power plays. So Elon is a node in the technical industrial complex. Trump works primarily for the financial industrial complex and the technical industrial complex. He's not a neocon. He's not a military industrial complex guy, but he needs to compensate them if he's going to give more power to finance. That's why you have to compensate them with various wars and operations that reset things.
So the way to understand the guy that comes to power saying no new wars, the reason that he then started wars is because I've got to balance these guys out. I want to do all my crazy stuff over here for the financial industrial complex, which already love me because I'm aligned with them. This is just how I operate. But I've got to throw a bone to these guys, so I'm just going to go blow up Iran real quick.
Yeah, but then there's bigger he doesn't decide to blow up Iran. You know, his job is to give a story of why he's blowing up Iran.
So somebody comes in and is like, we are blowing up Iran.
Yeah.
So get good at explaining
Miriam
this.
Adelson, by the way.
You need to come up with a narrative.
Right.
And that's why I think his social media posts are so inconsistent, because he doesn't necessarily know what's coming next and he's not deciding. You know, these are longer term operations. These are like multi-decade operations in order to reset energy flows, ports, access to ports, split the world up. These are long-term negotiations based upon power dynamics way above Trump. But even if you look at Trump himself, he's a great example. Let's look, who were his three biggest funders to his latest campaign? The number one was Elon Musk, $250 million.
I think Miriam is number one.
And he's a node in the technical industrial complex. Number two was the Mellon banking family, the financial industrial complex. And number three was Mariam Adelston, who's your Israel lobby, who Israel is a node in the military industrial complex. And so what you'll notice is there's different factions, and you did the Israel conversation earlier. AIPAC is the 14th most important lobby, but they have plausible deniability stories. And right now, they are utilizing the extraction of the Israeli asset. And they are deliberately allowing social media influencers to destroy the reputation of Israel. This is not to say that Israel isn't involved in crimes against humanity. Like, I spend a lot of time. I almost have to take off my analytical hat and put on my humanitarian hat sometimes because people confuse me. If I put on my humanitarian hat for a second, I spent years on the Palestinian cause. It is the sickest crimes against humanity. What is being done? It is a laboratory for the technology that America cannot test, so it does it in a Palestinian laboratory. Everything that is coming home right now was tested in the most extreme circumstances to kill Palestinians.
Can you give me some examples? Is this technology we're talking about?
So the goal of Palestine was to set up a series of events that would lead to the complete destruction of Palestine. There was a bribe that was set up to Egypt where they were meant to accept $18 billion debt forgiveness by the IMF in order to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians and put them in the Sinai Desert. That was a forever war model. Greater Israel Project is a narrative in order to justify the destabilization of the Middle East. That's been going on for a long time.
Did Egypt do that?
Egypt didn't do that because they aligned with another power structure, which is the Gulf countries. And the Gulf countries, interestingly, became more important as China rose. And so
because China's buying so much oil.
Because China's buying so much oil, their sovereign wealth funds goes up. They then became one of the major shareholders in BlackRock. The CEO of Saudi Aramco gets a board seat on BlackRock. Now they have influence over the most important node in the West, which is BlackRock.
Okay, so that was, I'll probably finish that later because that was really good. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but once again, if you're interested in seeing all that, this was shared a week ago. I saw a clip of it. I thought it was interesting, so I just figured we'd watch a little bit of it on stream, but it's the Impact Theory podcast. It's on YouTube. I think it's very insightful. But let's move on. Okay, back to the goy slop, as they say. All right. Oh, you know what? I want to take a look at the conflicts forum. So as far as I can tell, the most insightful reason to listen to conflicts forum, which is Alistair Crook's Substack, is because he and his wife, they translate Hebrew headlines and things that are happening within Israel, what Israelis are saying in their own society, which is often very different from what they tell the rest of the world. This says, serious warnings of political violence in Israel. Quote, next political assassination is just around the corner. Fingers crossed. And I mean political assassination happening in Israel, not in, because, you know, they're the king of assassinations. So this is from June 4th. That would be today. Rhetoric is fueling the next political assassination in Israel. Top targets: Attorney General, President of the Attorney General, the President of the Supreme Court, and leading journalists, former Shin Bet officials. Wait, let's see. Am I reading that right? So this is a former senior Shin Bet quote. The judiciary is a key target because too many elements of danger have converged around them. In a country where a channel broadcasts to a specific political camp and effectively becomes a tribal bonfire of anger, suspicion, and revenge, its dangerous influence cannot be ignored. When the same messages are repeated over and over again, they create reality. Unfortunately, we have not learned the lessons of Rabin's assassination, and so the next political assassination is just around the corner. Well, I wonder who could be assassinated in Israel. It says Netanyahu appoints personal lawyer as state controller. This is his most corrupt appointment yet. I think, from what I hear, Netanyahu is in dire straits. He's either facing jail or, or worse. It says the election of Netanyahu's personal lawyer, Rebello, as Israel's state watchdog marks another step in his drive toward one-man rule, a system in which he is no longer subject to oversight or scrutiny by the institutions tasked with holding his power to account. The dirty tactics that secured Rebello's questionable victory are merely a preview of what may lie ahead in Israel's next general election. They serve as a flashing red warning to the government's opponents that the people they are up against are willing to cross every red line to preserve their hold on power. Yeah, I mean, you think Netanyahu doesn't have a plan to sabotage the upcoming general election in Israel later this year? Let's see, it's got a few more quotes. It says, Netanyahu, the con artist trying to escape his trial and leave a chance for an illegal pardon engineered by President Herzog. Trump deprives Netanyahu of his bomb Beirut election strategy. Criminality among Israel's leaders is spreading with the quiet support of the prime minister. The bill to split Attorney General's role allows for her dismissal and enables chief prosecutor in Netanyahu's trial to be dismissed. Okay, I don't have the rest of that article, but let's move on to Twitter now. This is a post from Anna Kasparian, one of few members of Congress actually looking out for us and our sovereignty, and she's referring to Representative Ro Khanna, who says, this is a simple question. Do we do more for Israel now or less? Ro introduced an amendment to strike 224 because I am for the American people calling the shots, not Netanyahu. I am for Team America. So apparently what is it, Section 224 of the new NDAA bill that's going to supposedly fuse the Israeli military with the Pentagon has passed. And, I mean, how are we not surprised?
The American people are tired of the arrogance and insolence of Prime Minister Netanyahu telling America what we should do. The entire country of Israel has a GDP that is less than a single town in my district. Yet somehow Netanyahu thinks he could tell the American people what we should do. The person who's most upset with him right now is President Donald Trump.
Yeah, look at their GDP. How could they tell us what to do? Not mentioning, of course, that, like, it's principally a foreign country, and this would be grounds for treason, just not, GDP notwithstanding.
And everyone in America, whether you're a Republican, an independent, or a Democrat, says that we need to tell Netanyahu that America calls the shots, not the prime minister of any other country. They want less cooperation and blank checks to Israel, not more. Only the United States Congress would dream up at this moment, let's actually do more for Israel, not less. And that's what
Donald, I see your comment, and I just want to ask you, have you tried crying about it? Donald, I want you to know something, okay? I contain multitudes, all right? I'm multifaceted, so go fuck yourself. And if you don't like what I'm saying, just leave. What are you doing here? There's plenty of information out there. You can tap into another stream, literally.
Section 2024 does. It's a pretty simple thing. Should we do more for Israel than we already do, or should we do less? If you think we should do more for Israel, you should be against my amendment. If you think we should do less for Israel at the time that he's arrogantly telling Donald Trump what to do, then you should be for my amendment. Now, let me just be clear. Mr. Netanyahu actually wrote to a member of Congress to put this Section 224 into the bill.
Secretary Marco Rubio says for decades, Cuba has been the world capital for radical left-wing terrorism. The regime in Havana has recruited, trained, and backed violent Marxist and Third Worldist movements across our hemisphere and beyond. Wow, that is based, if true, Marco Rubio. Look, I already liked Cuba. You don't have to sell me on it. Today, we are targeting the network that enables and funds Cuba's subversive and radical operations. Okay, so cool. We're going to commit terrorism against Cuba for the 1,000th year in a row. Pursuant to sanctions authorities created by President Trump's groundbreaking Cuba executive order, I am designating the following entities. 1. Ministry of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Cuba, MINFAR. 2. Cuban Institute of Friendship with the Peoples. Blah, blah, blah. A bunch of other organizations. Anyone providing services to these sanctioned actors is at risk of sanctions themselves. Foreign banks and other companies that provide services to these entities should freeze those activities. Cool. So economic terrorism. Awesome. The Trump administration will no longer tolerate radical Marxist regimes in our hemisphere seeking to threaten U.S. national security and engage in influence operations to export their poisonous and evil revolution to our country and around the world. Well done,
The American people.
Gusano Rubio. Fear-mongering about Cuba being a threat to national security. So an entire family was burned to death in an Israeli airstrike on a Gaza apartment. That was posted from Abir 4 hours ago. During a ceasefire, by the way. Remember when Donald Trump was bragging about the length of the Lincoln reflecting pool, how it's going to be larger or longer than the biggest skyscrapers, and he held up this thing. You know what else would be bigger than all those skyscrapers? That would be the Epstein files. The bigliest. Here you have big, bigly, biglier, and bigliest. Or biglieriest. Something like that. Here's a clip from Thomas Massey suggesting that he and former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene are preparing for a 2028 run. Let's see what he says.
Marjorie and I talked about things that I can't tell you here in terms of where the party's going and what we think it needs to be doing.
Look, I mean, a lot of people think you guys are cooking something up, you know, an America First, 2028, some sort of run. Would she make a good running mate, hypothetically?
I don't know that she wants to do that.
Okay.
She's got her finger on the pulse, though, of what MAGA was promised and what they still want and where they've been betrayed. And I think hers is an important voice going forward, whether she runs for office or whether she's advising people who do run.
I know you haven't made a decision or haven't announced a decision yet, but you know, if you did run, do you think like some sort of centrist sort of candidate who can get votes on both sides, is that something do you think the country would be into at this stage in our history?
I think people just want somebody who's honest and doesn't lie to them and keeps their promises. And we haven't seen that in Washington, D.C. I tried that track, and $30 million was spent against me running AI ads, that weren't true, obviously. But I think there's still an appetite for that, and it's not particularly partisan. I've had people, Democrats, who come up to me and say, look, I only agree with you maybe 20% of the time, but I know you're fighting and I appreciate what you're doing. And they support me for things like releasing the Epstein files or opposing this next war. And there are people out there who are just hungry for somebody who doesn't come up here and lie, who doesn't come up here and take the money from the lobbyists and the foreign interests, somebody who just comes up here and says what they'll do, whether it costs you a re-election or not.
So do you and Marjorie have plans of some description?
We haven't ruled anything out.
Okay. Okay, interesting. I think
we made a lot of plans. We'll see how many of them we implement.
Okay. So, possible presidential run 2028. Here's President Putin on Palestine, currently against the backdrop of the events taking place in Iran and the Hormuz Strait. He says, we have forgotten about the tragedy of Palestine, but it is still there. Russia believes that the fundamental solution to the issue is the establishment of a Palestinian state. I can't believe this dictator. How dare he?
Currently, against the backdrop of the events taking place around Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, we forgot about the tragedy of Palestine, but it is still there. It is still there. And the President of Egypt has always made a great contribution trying to find a just settlement for the problems related to Palestine. And naturally, I would like to emphasize the Russian Federation believes that the fundamental solution to this issue is the establishment of a full-fledged Palestinian state.
Beautiful.
I know that the President of Egypt is actively involved in the agenda related to the settlement of the crisis in Iran.
Here's a hotspot. Or wait, no, this is, let me see. Let's take a look at this.
Can you guys believe that Trump and Netanyahu are allegedly beefing with one another? Yeah, nah, me neither. So Trump allegedly called Bibi Netanyahu effing crazy and said that they have to stop because Israel won't stop attacking Lebanon.
Axios reported that you had a phone call with Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, in which you were angry with him. You said, are you effing crazy? What are you effing doing? I helped you stay out of jail. Is that true? Did you speak to him in those terms?
I did. I wouldn't say angry. I was a little bit perturbed at his constantly fighting with Lebanon. You know, at some point I said, Bibi, we got to stop this. We got to stop it. You know, I'm a wartime president. He's a wartime prime minister. Very important part of the world.
That's crazy. He just said that. He's a wartime president. I mean, he billed himself as the president of peace, literally, when he was running for presidency. Now he's a wartime president. Who would have thought?
Yeah, who tried to downplay it, saying that sometimes families have disagreements, but they still agree on a lot of things, and he and Trump still have a great relationship.
Let's talk about the call that you had with him this week, which is getting a lot of attention. The president confirmed that he said you're effing crazy. How did you react to that? What really happened in that call?
Well, I'm not going to get into details of our conversations. We've had thousands. So we have common goals. Sometimes we have, as in the best of families, you have these tactical disagreements where you always find a way.
I've never had tactical disagreements with members of my family. What is that supposed to mean? He's trying to relate, like, coordinating war crimes as being part of a family?
Way to work them out, and we do so as great friends. We can disagree in the morning, and by the afternoon we have common action.
So I was going to say, has your relationship at all shifted with him?
No. This has been a great relationship because he's been the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House, and he respects me. I respect him. We always find a way to work out our differences.
No, I need everybody to understand something. This argument may or may have not been real, but the disagreement, it absolutely is real, and the timing of all this is not coincidental. At this point, everyone should be perfectly clear on the fact that Iran says that if you attack Lebanon, you are attacking us and there will be no ceasefire. And oh, by the way, that includes if Israel attacks Lebanon. And Israel has effectively been attacking Lebanon since the peace talks started. Within the 24 hours of that conversation, Iran has been taking Kuwait, Bahrain, just basically all the US allies in the region to town, bombing the hell out of them, with the US basically still proving that they're unable to defend them. Because Iran's made it clear that if Israel doesn't stop with their bullshit, Iran's gonna keep busting everybody's ass. Because they can. If anything, this ceasefire was doing the United States and its allies a favor. It wasn't doing Iran any favor, mind you.
I agree with you, Mikey, to a certain extent. I do think so. And I also think that it did make Netanyahu look weaker. And that's why he had to actually go talk to a reporter. Fuck. Got to get in front of this.
Not even a couple of weeks ago, Trump
But
was
yeah, I don't think there's really any structural disagreements between them.
trying to convince the world that he's not controlled by Israel, he's making his own decision. Trump is trying to still convince the world that going to war with Iran was a great decision, it was absolutely necessary, even though he's doing so unsuccessfully considering that his popularity is as low as any president's has been. And the midterms are coming up. So wouldn't it be really convenient if you just had an argument with Bibi Netanyahu to convince the world that you're actually trying to stand up to this Zionist menace? You're not working at their behest. That you actually want to settle and resolve this war with Iran. And it's Bibi that's the bad guy, not you. Yeah, so basically, I'm not buying it. Yeah, they probably had the same conversation that they've been having for the last couple of months, which is Bibi telling Trump what he is gonna do, Trump disagreeing with him, and Bibi ultimately doing whatever the hell he wants to, despite those disagreements. Cause there is no way in hell y'all gonna convince me that Trump talked to Bibi like that when Bibi literally takes his laundry to the White House to get done. All of a sudden Trump he found his balls again? Come on, guys. Don't fall for it.
Don't fall for it. Look at this Jewish Zionist in Ontario, Canada, is protesting, threatening to murder the crowd as he aims and shoots his nail gun at pro-Palestinian activists. He says every fucking Palestinian will die.
Every fucking Palestinian! Huh? You wanna fucking go, bitch? You need to calm down and step back. You wanna fucking You have a fucking problem? Huh? You have a problem? You fucking You have a fucking Don't you fucking touch me, bitch. Don't you fucking touch me.
I feel like this is an old video.
You piece of shit.
Dude, they're so tough when they're going up against women and children. They're so scary. Stu Peters says Iran has walked away from the negotiating table for good and as a direct result of Israel's continued attacks on Lebanon, where civilians are being murdered en masse. And once again, the American people are left holding the bag.
But now Iran has made it official. They've walked away from the negotiating table for good as a direct result of Israel's continued attacks on Lebanon, where civilians are being murdered en masse. Once again, the American people are left holding the bag. Imagine that. Tens of thousands of American troops from every branch of the United States military have been deployed to the Middle East in preparation for a full-scale ground invasion of Iran. And so now those who haven't been killed and had their deaths covered up by Pete Hegseth already are poised to be fed into this meat grinder because Israel says we can't have peace. Iran is the last domino to fall in the Middle East. It's the last big obstacle, and Lebanon is just prime real estate. So yeah, these two fronts are tied together. They are linked. It's the same war. It's the war for greater Israel. The Iranians aren't playing around anymore. They have been f***ed with and had their kids killed one too many times. But now Iran has...
That's true. Trump's dementia is apparently making him gay. Look, he actually released this. Who wears short shorts? That'd be number 47. Number 47 in your playbook. Number 1 in your hearts. Donald J. Trump. But the D is for dementia. So here is, in reference to that story about the House passing Section 224 today. The House voted today on a new measure to fuse elements of the Israeli and U.S. militaries, particularly on the cyber weapons front. Section 224, as it's known, is included in the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA. Representative Ro Khanna introduced an amendment to strip it from being passed. And this is a 20-minute clip.
By Mr. Khanna of California. For what purpose does the gentleman from
Mr. Khanna from California over there.
California seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
Will clerk distribute the amendment without objection? Reading amendments dispensed with. The chair recognizes the gentleman for the purpose of explaining his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the American...
All right, yeah, we watched it already. No need to go back over that. It didn't matter, okay? It didn't matter. Jared Kushner isn't beating the allegation, says Kim Iverson. Let's take a look.
So Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump have just secured the rights to develop an entire island off of the coast of Albania. It's a beautiful island, and it is just ripe for the taking by the Kushners. This has really pissed off Albanian people. They're actually protesting this, saying, how dare the Albanian government give away an island to the Trump family. But what's not being disclosed by the Kushners is that this island comes with an entire network of tunnels and bunkers, which kind of reminds us of another island that we also know about, considering Jared Kushner is an ultra-Zionist, and one of his stated life goals is securing the Israeli nation and essentially doing anything and everything for the Israeli nation.
And I couldn't be prouder to be a friend of Israel.
I mean, Netanyahu used to sleep in his bed.
Somebody who supports Israel and somebody who fights very strongly to see Israel survive, succeed, and to achieve its fullest potential.
And he works under Donald Trump negotiating. We never elected this guy. Let's listen to Ivanka Trump talk about this lush tropical island that they discovered.
It's an unbelievable, beautiful 1,400 hectare private island in the middle of the Mediterranean.
So essentially it is going to be Trump Island or Kushner Island or Epstein Island 2.0, however you want to look at it, because yes, once again, the Kushners are planning on putting a giant, lush, tropical getaway for the ultra wealthy. Sounds familiar. And this island also comes with a bunch of secret bunkers and tunnels. Also sounds familiar. Listen to what Kushner's side of the story is on this and how he says that he discovered this island. Oh, it was none other than the Rothschilds.
I was on a vacation after we left government.
It's really, I mean, I of all the Jewish things to happen, this might be the most Jewish.
In the summer of 2021.
This story, I mean, my goodness.
We were on our...
It's got everything. It's got Jews. It's got the Rothschilds. It's got private islands. It's got tunnels. It's got bunkers. It's got finance capital. It's got private equity. It's got usury in it. It's all there. It's all there. Just throw in a few chickens to swing, to boot.
And Nat Rothschild's boat.
So this Zionist can't stop at just Israel and the land over there. He's also going to go after Albanian territory now. At least this one's uninhabited.
How can you negotiate with someone like this, says Jackson Hinkle, responding to Bezalel Smotrich openly calling for 1 million settlers to move into the West Bank with the explicit goal of, quote, killing the possibility of a Palestinian state. He didn't say this in a back room. He said it on the record. I got a tiny hat and this gives me the power to do whatever I want. I'm just translating. I can't listen to that ghoul. He belongs in a prison. He belongs under the prison. I haven't seen this, but people have been telling me, or specifically Lawrence Wilkerson mentioned this, that Benjamin Netanyahu actually used the phrase final solution when addressing like the Palestinian question. And he said that he said it in Hebrew, but he actually said it in English. And I don't know where this clip is, but I don't know if you've seen it, but he actually said the phrase final solution. And I'm thinking about liberals who want to attack me for using the word goy and saying, that is Nazi propaganda. How dare you say the word goy? How dare you use the word that they use against us back at them? And do they ever talk about literally the Jewish supremacist Zionist Netanyahu talking about the final solution. Maybe that's Nazi propaganda. I don't know. Maybe that's the real Nazi. This is big if true. Netanyahu is hiding in a kitchen bunker, speaking of bunkers, out of fear of Hezbollah missiles during his visit to northern Israel. He should be, because Hezbollah is lighting that ass up. And there's a picture of him probably partaking in some authentic Israeli cuisine. See, this is also another clip. Hezbollah launched rockets towards northern Israel during Netanyahu's visit. Perfect. Sirens were later activated in Shlomi after he left. Dude, how great. I wish this clip were you heard missile strikes like in the background. That would be just a big kaboom in the back. That'd be awesome. In a video game, of course, allegedly. He's still pausing for photo ops. He's short, man. He's like 4'7". How tall is Netanyahu? He looks like a little inbred hobbit. Donald Trump is falling asleep again. Trump appears to be completely passed out earlier today during his 3 p.m. Oval Office announcement. He's sundowning, folks. Look at this. Why is he off to the side? It looks like he's letting out a fart.
Of a job, an economy, a community, a family. And for too long, you warmth of a job.
He farted.
Economy, a community,
you heard
a
that?
family. And for too long.
He did it again.
Of a job, an economy, a community, a family.
He's like not even there. He looks like he's about to fall into his little fainting chair. Oh man, they're burning people alive in Gaza. Still. These people are trying to rescue someone that's in the fire. Look, they're trying to cover. Jesus. Jesus Christ, man. Hell on earth. These demons, dude. Oh, man. There's more I could show you, but I don't think I can show this yet because they're like, it's just, these are clips of like Israel drone striking civilians. All, it's just like a super cut. It's just so detestable. Here's an article from the Babylon BB. Ivanka shares the struggles of building a bigger, better private island for Epstein's friends. What is this? Elon Musk shared this clip of Donald Trump. I haven't seen this.
From the very first day I took office, our administration has waged the most successful war on crime in American history. Last year, the murder rate saw the single largest decline ever recorded, falling to the lowest level in 125 years.
He's got gold coins on the desk.
We've reduced the fentanyl coming across our border by 60%.
Holy shit, this guy can't fucking talk. He's stroking out. You hear him? He's slurring his space. He's
from Washington,
starting to sound like Joe Biden.
To Memphis, to New Orleans, to our
New Orleans. Don't get my fucking hometown out your mouth, bitch.
Southern border. We are restoring law.
Don't you ever talk about my precious city like that.
And order to America. Now we're taking our next big step to
now we're taking our next big step. Look at his mouth. It's like, well, I can't
defend public safety in America. At my direction.
His mouth is blue. His teeth are blue. He looks like he just blew a Smurf. That's what it is.
The Department of Justice is beginning what we're calling the Model Cities Initiative to slash violent crime in major metropolitan
Maybe Netanyahu's comb is blue.
areas all across our country.
Maybe that's why.
In selected cities, the Department of Justice will provide $300 million
He's a Netanyahu semen receptacle.
in grants to hire police officers,
He
modernize
brushes his teeth with Netanyahu's semen.
equipment, provide training, and improve law enforcement. This historic funding will go to
I'm sorry, that's really graphic. I shouldn't have said that. That was Saeed's fault. He put me on that tangent.
confronting substance abuse, preventing youth crime, and combating repeat offenders. In short, we're committed to making historic
Repeat offenders, you say? The repeat offender is talking about repeat offenders, folks.
investments in improving the quality of life of city residents nationwide. For the next 90 days, any city or local government representing
He's
a
got spit building up on the sides of his mouth.
population of more than 100,000 people can apply to take part in this exciting new program. It's amazing. Tell your local representatives to apply now by going to www.justice.gov/grants. With your help, we will put...
Go spit shine Netanyahu's cock, you little weasel. Look at this. Hen Matzig, this guy sucks so hard. A visibly Jewish man. A visibly Jewish man. He was visibly Jewish. Did they know that he was Jewish? No, but he was just visibly Jewish. That sounds a bit anti-Semitic. What do you mean by visibly Jewish, Hen? You're saying because he's got a big nose? That's an anti-Semitic stereotype, son. Why do you hate the Jays? A visibly Jewish man checks into a hotel in London and pandemonium ensues. The TV greets him with a customized message of Free Palestine. Oh my God. This is like another Holocaust. This comes a mere day after a hotel in Bavaria told customers that Jews were not allowed to stay with them. I'm sure that's what it said. If it happens again tomorrow, do we finally get to call it anti-Semitism? Oh my goodness.
At a hotel. Power.
Turn on TV. Look at this. The Jews are tired, folks. Welcome, guest. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
He's got to, every time the Jew turns on his TV, he's got to see Free Palestine. And we just witnessed a hate crime, folks. Can you believe it? No, me neither. I mean, what do you say? This guy's got to be, he's got 600 comments. This is hilarious. Caitlin Johnstone just replies with a video. No words, just one video. It's a 5-minute montage of Israeli soldiers talking about murdering children.
אני ראיתי את המשפחה הזאת, לקחתי את הלוויסט שלי, אמרתי לו בוא רגע, שומע, אתה רואה את החלון הזה? אתה נותן לשם את הלאו. הוא אומר לי יד, משפחה, עניינים. אמרתי לו, על הזין שלי, שרוף את כולם. ואני הפקודה.
He says, there's a family in there, I told him I don't give a fuck, and I'm standing as calm as can be, and I tell him, get into position. He gets into position, 1, 2, boom. At that moment, bro, I looked at this friend of mine. He was a lot more intelligent than me. I looked at him and told him in the most disgusting words a Jew can say, look how fun it is to hear them burn. The most, what did he say? The most disgusting thing a Jew could say? I don't even know if I want to watch all this, but this is all, there's apparently a YouTube video dedicated to proof that Israel targets kids, and it's a 5-minute compilation. I'm gonna repost this. See, look, they got it. This is like another Holocaust. Won't somebody please think of the genociders? It's absolutely bizarre that people can say Free Palestine is anti-Semitic. Thank you. You seem to not have accepted the fact that the general population around the world hates you. State of this cunt being triggered by Free Palestine after the country he defends has committed genocide and ethnic cleansing. It's a fucking disgrace how ethno-supremacist Zionists continue to weaponize anti-Semitism so they avoid being held to account. This guy's getting spit roasted in his comment section. Let me chime in. I'm gonna say, ha ha, eat shit, turd. Let's put a comma there just so that they know that I didn't mean eat shit turd, but eat shit and I'm calling you a turd. Okay. Let's move on. Shall we? Of course, I update my feed, I get Elon Musk tweets, even though I don't follow that fucker. All right, let's move to the Discord. You guys got some links for me. That's awesome. This is from AZ107. Israeli settler tries to break into a Palestinian home in the West Bank, throws rocks through windows, spits at the owner, threatens to fuck up you and your European whore while an IDF soldier terrorist watches.
Fucking Nazi fuck, get the fuck out of here. Fuck off.
We just got attacked by a settler who tried to break into the house, threw rocks at us.
They're fucking zombies, man.
And tried to spit at us.
Ghouls. Fuck, look at this.
למה אתה לא מעביר אבנים? יום שבת?
צא מהגדר שלך, תעיף את המניאק השרמוט האירופאי הזה.
אתה לא...
מי שהביא אותך, יא
Oh, the little tiny hat man's upset. He's in his fifis. He's getting very emotional.
The settler threw big rocks and tried to break into the house and...
The sitter.
Throw big rocks at
He's just these are fucking squatters, man.
me and the house, at my friends here, without any accountability.
Watching this shit makes me so fucking angry, and this is exactly, you can see the relationship, the dynamic here. The Israeli soldiers stand back, they just sanction everything, they let the settlers go wild. Settlers Gone Wild, West Bank edition.
Fuck out, you terrorist, fuck! Shoot him, חייל! As you shoot Palestinian kids, shoot him in the legs. אני מפחד ממך.
אתה יודע שאתה מפחד.
כן, כן.
כן, אם לא היית שם גדרות, יא מזדיין, יא מחוואף. לא היית שם... יא בן שרמוטה.
Complaints against soldiers, against settlers, with videos attacking me, destroying my property, and without any real accountability. You know, he will be released in a few hours.
That's fucking nuts, man. Oh my God. All right, next clip. A Palestinian man in Gaza takes it upon himself to dispose of unexploded munitions left behind by the Israeli aggression. I'd be scared to fucking pick that shit up. Damn. Iranian hacking group Handala announced that one of their Israeli agents assassinated the head of Mossad's newly established Iran desk. Israel admits that a former police officer was killed by the car bomb. I think I'd believe Iran over Israel. Shit happens when you fuck around. All right, Richard Medhurst link. Let's do it.
The war in
it's a little
Iran
long.
is much larger than anyone seems to grasp.
It's a little long. 30 minutes. I can't do it. See, this Jess understands the assignment. Jess says 1 minute. I'll see your 30-minute video and raise you just 1 minute. Let's do it. And this is one of my favorite videos.
Can you help me practice an apology?
Of course, I'd be happy to help. What kind of situation are you thinking about?
I'm just gonna say it, and you let me know what you think, and if you would forgive me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go ahead and say what's on your mind, and I'll listen closely and let you
Shut up, please.
Hey, I'm sorry that your wallet ended up in my pocket, and all your money was lost.
I get what you're trying to say, but I think it might help to be a little more specific.
Okay, so, hey, I'm sorry my hand reached into your back pocket and took out the wallet and on accident, and all your credit cards were maxed out on accident.
That's a lot clearer, and it sounds really sincere. You might just want to add a little bit about how you're going to make it right. I really want to fix this.
Yeah, I really want to fix this and find out who spent all your money after I took it out of your back pocket and put it in my possession.
That's really good.
Okay.
That's really good. They're going to save humanity, AI. That's super smart. Let's see, this is from CNN, you say? When a fire broke out aboard the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier in March, the U.S. Navy issued a brief statement saying the fire had been contained, that 2 sailors had received medical treatments for non-life-threatening injuries, and that the carrier was fully operational. But new video footage obtained by CNN clearly shows that the fire was more intense and destructive than the Navy indicated. Well, that is a shocker. Sources tell CNN that the ship's fire suppression system did not function. This is a Hezbollah FPV drone. This has nothing to do... Oh, you were responding to something? Boy, I thought this was setting up the clip. This is a Hezbollah nighttime FPV drone eliminated another IOF terrorist in Lebanon. He didn't even attempt to escape because he couldn't even notice the drone was approaching. Oh, shit. Wow, got there pretty close. And bada bing, bam. Oh, my God. He didn't move. He didn't move a muscle. And now he's not moving anything. Okay, so here is the clip that I just set up a second ago. So that's aboard the Gerald R. Ford. It looks pretty extensive. I'm sure it's fine. Just a laundry room fire is all.
Y'all Jewish?
Yeah.
What tribe y'all from?
We don't believe in tribes. We believe in tribes, but not in Judea. In Israel, it's Judea.
אנחנו מטרייב Judah.
Judea and Levi. Because we have Levi as Levi is
I don't know what
it's a
Levi is.
family name.
I don't know what Levi is.
11 tribes, right? 11 tribes.
You know what is like?
11 sons.
Okay. They're born.
I never heard of only 11 tribes. Y'all had to break that down for me. I thought it was 12.
No, it's 12 tribes.
He said 11.
No, 12.
I'm stupid. I don't know math. So 12.
They didn't even know how many.
It seems like y'all not familiar with y'all history, man.
Wow.
You know what we saying? No, what do I believe in?
Oh, in Messiah.
No, I believe in something.
Jehovah.
In who?
I believe that y'all are not really Jews.
We are not really Jews.
Y'all are imposters. Give them a
man,
hand.
imposters.
Yeah.
Give him a hand.
Y'all pretending to be Jews.
So how we can pretend to be
You're not Jews.
imposters?
I'm gonna tell you what this is.
But you
Saying
said
we
that
acting
we are
like
Jewish.
Because Jewish.
How you can say that
Because
we are
Jewish, we will accept Jewish because we're not Jewish. Jewish is just something
I
you wake up
understand you're
and be like,
Jewish.
oh, I think I'm Jewish today.
You're a Jew.
That gay parade, where's it at? That's in Tel Aviv?
What, the gay
Yeah.
parade?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
we
gay
have
parade.
also in Tel
Is it
Aviv.
a problem?
Is it a problem? God damn. The chosen people of God is telling me is a gay parade in Tel Aviv a problem.
You are yelling at me right now.
And you stole something that didn't belong to you.
What? What the hell?
Why
I'm
does not
talking
belong
about
to
this
me?
conversation.
Your entire
No, not
costume
try,
does
not
not
try
belong
to go
to
with
you.
that because they
You're a
want
fake
that
Jew.
we will go.
You're not really a Jew. You are
No,
European.
אל תתחיל אפילו לדבר איתם על זה, כי הם
You're
מפחדים
European.
פשוט.
You're European.
I'm not European. Actually, I'm not European.
You are
Actually,
European.
You know-
You're a convert. You're a Khazarian. You're not a Jew.
Okay. You are the real one. The real
Oh,
one.
give her a hand.
Yeah, of
Thank
course.
you.
Yeah, give you a hand. Yeah.
Bam, bitch.
Today was a
Got
bad
under
day.
your
I should never
skin,
talk to the
didn't we?
real Jews. Hey, are they real Jews?
What?
Yeah. I told you. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna tell y'all something.
Yeah, what you telling
I'm gonna tell
man?
y'all. In 2026, we've been saying Jewish people are fake Jews since 1969. However, in 2026, every white man knows Jewish people are imposters.
Oh no, what a hate crime.
Bricks and Minifigs has attempted to have Reckless Ben's Patreon taken down, banishing it to the Shadow Realm in an attempt to take away his main source of income.
Dear creator community, my name is Jack Conti, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Patreon. On May 29th, Patreon received an official takedown request filed by Bricks and Minifigs for media and accounts related to Reckless Ben and an ongoing dispute regarding a local Lego consignment issue. This is the verified complaint with exhibits. This is the request for immediate content removal pursuant to temporary restraining order.
I'm
And
so
this is
confused.
the motion for the temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction.
They are that evil. So they have put in all of the official paperwork here to force Patreon to take down Reckless Ben's.
Who the fuck is Reckless Ben?
Patreon.
Why is he being so reckless that he got his Patreon account taken down?
This is them now
I guess
trying
that's pretty on brand.
to starve out Ben. They tried numerous times to have him thrown in jail over some barnacles and horseradish. That didn't work. So now they've come from the top turnbuckle here to try and instead just take away his income. But I've saved the best part for last.
So after an extensive review and investigation by Patreon's Trust and Safety team, we have in fact unfortunately determined that Bricks and Minifigs can stuff it. We're keeping Ben's page up. And if Bricks and Minifigs doesn't like that, they can sue us. Patreon out.
It is exceptionally rare, almost unheard of, for a company of Patreon size, they are a huge company, to actually side with a creator against a massive corporation. So I think this deserves a big round of applause here from Patreon to just say, "F you, we're going to keep it up." Bricks and Minifigs.
Who the hell? I don't know what Bricks and Minifigs. I don't know who Reckless Ben is. Does anybody know who that is? Who the fuck is Reckless Ben? Ben Schneider is an American YouTuber, stuntman, investigative filmmaker. The Bricks and Minifigs. I think this is a bunch of shit that I don't really have much interest for. This is a compilation of Hezbollah FPV strikes during Israel's invasion of southern Lebanon, highlights the evolution of warfare. The future is for the drones. Do not ask for who the drones hum. The drones hum for thee. Shlomo. Out of commission, roasted, cooked. Beautiful. That's beautiful. Get him. Get him. You know it's been happening too, because every day Netanyahu releases a tweet saying, "Our condolences to the fallen soldier, the brave lion fighting in southern Lebanon." And then you got Danny Danon crying about the FPV drones. They're impossible to be jammed. They use fiber optic cables. It's like they gloat about the Lebanese pagers and then they cry when they get FPV drones up their ass. This is some epic music, huh? Oh no! Anyway. Dude, there's a lot of videos. That is crazy. Kind of want to check out Electronic Intifada. Should probably get a John Elmer update. Okay, I think you get the idea. And only 10 soldiers died, according to Israel. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I want to hear what's happening, though, more minutely on the front lines there. So maybe we'll see if Electronic Intifada has an update for us. Okay, let's get an update about HR 8800. U.S. military merges with Israel.
Today's the 4th of June,
That's true, it
2026.
is.
Oh, look at that lighting. Oh, wow.
Okay, let's not be so... Maybe you could have fix that before you start a video. Let's just dispense with the analysis, please.
This video is about HR 8800, so it's for my United States friends mostly, but you've colonized the rest of us anyway, so we're all in this together. Somebody actually wrote to me and asked me to cover this, so shout out to Starchild. The first thing I did was clickety-clack that into a search engine and seen what came up, and I nearly threw up at the gaslighting, the ridiculous, transparent attempt at making this feel legitimate. I'm pretty sure if I was a United States citizen, I would be on a watch list by now because I cannot cope with the lies. It is urgent and important to explain this to you all in the plainest, most simple terms that I possibly can and ask you to share this with your friends if you're in the United States, even if you're not. Just have to keep reminding myself that this is a global law.
Get to the fucking point, please.
I don't think you're a changed person at all, but you went to jail
This guy's
and you
based.
got pardoned, so I feel like it's a
I
little
didn't
bit
get
different.
pardoned, I got commuted.
So I could say 100% reliably, not allegedly, that you are guilty of all of those crimes.
No, you can say I'm a felon.
But you're also guilty of the crimes.
You can say whatever you want.
Oh, you're saying that you were found guilty, but you didn't do it.
Like I said, you can say whatever you want.
Do you think you'll ever be able to improve your image from a lying piece of shit to a lying piece of crap?
Not if I keep hanging
Why does this guy even take the interview with this?
out with you.
Really? So you're a big Israel guy.
You can say that.
Big
So
Israel
that's how you
guy.
got out of jail.
Oh my God. There goes the conspiracy theories.
There he goes.
All right, so the disgraced former Congressman George Santos is in some trouble again. What a surprise. This guy's something else. You know, Trump bailed him out of prison. He was supposed to do 7 years for wire fraud and identity theft, but he only did a few months because Trump commuted his sentence. So he caught a big break, but of course it looks like nothing has changed. And now Trump's DOJ is investigating him for insider trading on Kalshi, that prediction market where you can bet on real world events. So Trump bailed him out, but now his DOJ is investigating him. It's comical because, of course, George didn't learn his lesson. You know, he's still as shameless as ever. It's
It's really comical. This guy should, like, drink some coffee before he decides to give a spiel.
amazing. This guy does not give a fuck. He just got saved from doing 7 years in prison, and he's still out here acting like a fool and getting himself in trouble.
Tricky
He'll
dick.
never change, but he is hilarious. You know, he's definitely a character. This guy is out of his mind. Like, everything he does is so blatantly corrupt, it's hard not to just laugh at it. Like when he's using campaign funds for Botox, OnlyFans, vacations, and luxury items, he's like, of course that's what I was doing. That was blatantly obvious. I wasn't trying to hide it.
They were all within the purview of spending. I was told it was all, and I had no reservations of making those. I didn't do them in secrecy. They were all blatantly done because they were reported to the FEC. So I bought a new suit here or there, or I got Botox. Apparently they said it was okay for me.
This motherfucker's getting Botox. Oh my God.
$800, although despite the fact that I've spent thousands of dollars on Botox of my own money, but I spent $800 of the campaign funds on Botox. Then comes all these other, like...
Are you worried that Botox, like, affects your brain after a while?
Probably.
And he was using donors' credit cards without authorization, and by the end of his campaign, he was almost $800,000 in debt. But I guess him getting convicted and going to prison for a few months didn't scare him because it looks like he's back to his old scheming ways. And again, he's making it so obvious. I think that Botox has completely scrambled his brain. I mean, I don't know how he thought you'd never get busted for any of this stuff. Like, the audacity of this guy is incredible. It's hard to believe. You know, this guy will lie about anything, and he's always trying to scheme and scam his way through life. And I guess he can't figure out how to make money doing anything else at this point. Like, he tries to do a podcast, but nobody watches it. It's totally dead. He can't even break 1,000 views. So I guess he was getting desperate, and going to prison didn't scare him enough. You know, you'd think since this guy just caught a huge break, he'd be on his best behavior, but of course not. And he came up with this genius alleged scheme. Apparently on Kalshi, before Trump's State of the Union address, you could bet on if George would attend, which
Ever
is just
since he said he got Botox, I'm like looking at his face like,
it's ridiculous. And of course, George saw this as an
he's like an outsized baby.
opportunity. So he made a video saying he was going to be there, and the odds shot up to like 80-90% that he'll attend. So then he allegedly placed a bet that he wouldn't be there, and then later announced he was stuck at an airport and couldn't make it, and cashed out and made
Nice.
tens of thousands.
So he posted a video the day before Trump's State of the Union saying he was going to be there. The bet on Kalshi was that he would not attend. So then he made money by not attending.
of dollars. But then Kalshi noticed the suspicious activity and froze his account. So this idiot allegedly placed a bet on himself using his own account. Like, wow, how did George Santos know he wouldn't attend that State of the Union? What a great prediction he made. He's not even trying to hide it. Like, of course, that's going to be suspicious. So Kalshi referred the activity to the DOJ and regulators, which I'm sure there's so much insider trading going on with these apps. It's too easy, and especially in Trump's administration. If you know what he's about to say or do, you could make bank off of it. So George probably figured if everyone else is doing it, then he might as well take advantage of it. And that's always his excuse for this stuff. Like, whenever he gets busted, his defense is like, well, everyone else does it. Why am I the only one getting in trouble? Which, I mean, he's probably not wrong about that, especially with insider trading. But he just makes it so obvious. Like, he's not even good at being corrupt. And now that he's being investigated by Trump's DOJ, I don't know if he'll want to start calling out his administration for doing the same thing that he's being accused of. Even though I'm sure there is a ton of that going on, and George is definitely thinking, how am I the only one that's getting busted for it? But I think he's the only one that's dumb enough to bet on himself with his own account. And of course, when he's asked about it, he started lying. He says he knows the co-founder of Kalshi. He's like, she's a fellow Brazilian who I personally know, and he said he would get her on a call to get to the bottom of the investigation. But then a rep for Kalshi said she doesn't personally know George at all. So then on Twitter, he started flipping out and calling for an investigation into Kalshi. He said, one thing I learned is Kalshi's a danger to their users, no privacy in all leaks. Remember, they keep your social security number, driver's license, and banking info. Their license to operate must be revoked pending conclusion of an investigation. And a lot of people hate these real-world speculation apps, so they probably agree with him, but he's obviously only saying this because he's not allowed to allegedly insider trade on their app. That's the only reason he's complaining about it now. If he had gotten away with it, then he would still be using it and trying to pull more stunts like this. He also tweeted, I've learned I will forever be targeted and have become a second-class citizen. So the poor guy apparently can't even get away with insider trading like all the other con artists without getting in trouble for it. So he thinks he's being treated unfairly. And I bet Tucker Carlson will go along with this nonsense. For some reason, he's been trying to help George rehabilitate his image.
I don't give a fuck. Do you?
Mr. Chairman,
we saw that already. House Armed Services Committee rejects Ro Khanna's amendment to remove Section 224 from the NDAA. I'm sharing the whole clip so you can all see for yourselves that these Israel lobby-bought lawmakers did not listen to the American people. Fancy that. The Goyim have gone insane, folks. Nice. I want that shirt. We should make a shirt that says Goy Lives Matter. Yes, Kelly Marie, welcome in. Thank you for the super. And you bet your ass we watched that clip. Sid Rosenberg, he looks purple. It was very weird. I wondered aloud if maybe there was some sort of filter. It's just like there's no way the guy's skin looks like that. But I did react to it on stream a couple days ago, and there is a clip of it on YouTube. But yeah, he's a, and the shit that he was saying was just, you know, ridiculous. Good job. No, please, God, no. Patrick Bet David and Piers Morgan. So we're just going to listen to a wind tunnel? Is that what's going on here?
Supposed to be a grandmaster. Your number one move should be protect your border, not Ukraine. If you're saying let's worry about Ukraine, maybe it's number 9 on the list. It ain't number 1 above the border. That is the most ludicrous argument I would ever make.
Well, let me ask you this.
We have to take care of America
let me ask you this.
Then we take care of everybody else.
Why should America be supporting Israel then? That's thousands of miles away.
Oh, we've seen this clip. He's like, well, that's different.
How much money are we giving to Israel?
Billions.
How much money are we giving Israel? I'm curious. Go ahead. I'm curious. Go ahead.
Oh,
are we sending troops over there? Are we sending missiles over there?
No, but
how much money are we giving to
America.
Israel?
We're sending all of those things. What are you talking about?
No, the dome we've given it since 1945. I think $10 billion we've given to them.
No, we haven't. Since 1940. First of all, he's such an idiot that he doesn't even realize that in 1945, Israel didn't fucking exist. Thank you, Duchess Habitat, for the 5 gifted. That's really nice of you. And second of all, it's not $10 billion. It's something like $300 billion since 1948, which is when Israel was shat into existence. And yeah, it's definitely not. We give $4 billion to Israel on the books, $4 billion, because it's obviously more than that. But formally, we give $4 billion unconditional aid to Israel every year. But in the span of Israel's existence, we've given hundreds of billions of dollars to Israel, and we've sent more money to Israel than any other country, by far. It's one of the I've seen the statistics on it, and it's like far and beyond above anything remotely close to the aid that we send to other countries. So Israel is number one there. So he's an idiot. Wait, let's continue on.
Billion is towards the dome.
Yeah.
How much money are we giving them?
Billions of dollars.
Oh,
not comparable to.
Never mind. We saw the whole thing. We're just replaying. They're still protesting in Chile. I don't know much about Chile these days. Country we don't hear much about. I mean, think about it though. Every time we see a Latin American country in the news, they're all in the streets. Think about Bolivia. What's happening in Bolivia, Chile, Argentina. Obviously, Venezuela, Cuba. The entire global south hates us. I wonder why. Couldn't be anything we're doing, right? But I don't know what the far right. Yeah, kill Pinochet's legacy. I like what you said there. Gato. Yeah. Who is the government in Chile right now? I'm sure I know the name, or have heard the name. Oh, no. Has Jose Antonio Cast. He took office earlier this year, March 11th, 2026. Cast is a conservative political veteran. I was going to say vegetarian. Leader of the Republican Party, won the December 25 election with a roughly 58% of the vote, succeeding the progressive leftist Gabriel Boric. His administration marks the country's sharpest ideological shift to the right in decades. I sense some neoliberal chicanery afoot there. I'm sure we could do a deep dive into how Cast got elected, and I'm sure something about something CIA had something to do with it. See, it's the same neoliberal policies being wrought in Argentina under Javier Milei. The Cast administration is currently focused on an austerity-driven legislative agenda, prioritizing strict border controls. It's, outsourced MAGA. In other words. Okay, I have to pee like you would not believe, so I'm going to step away just for a second, but we're going to put this video on first, and I'll be right back, and I hope you're taking notes because this is going to be on the quiz at the end of the stream, okay? Yes, this is a classroom. This is for a grade, all right? All right.
Do your job. The adversaries know
Do your
what's
job.
coming for.
Yeah, if doing this little display by Pete Hegseth was supposed to scare Iran, terrify our opponents, I think that they're probably feeling a little bit more comfortable because I don't know what that little sachet thing is. That's ridiculous. But we have more actually. So why don't we jump into one more clip where he seems to have lost a little bit of energy until he realizes that he's still being filmed. Take a look. Like clinging to life, do you mean? Because look, I'm sure it's a tough workout or whatever, but you're the one who chose to do it because you're so alpha male, tough and everything. So like, why stand there and not do it? Like there's people all around you that are exercising. And I get it that literally every drop of moisture in your body has fled at this point and you're a sweaty mess. I'm sure I too would be a sweaty mess, but I'm not doing the photo op. And I don't know, maybe the reason he didn't have any energy for the later stuff is because he put all of it into kicking his knees up on that little twisty thing, which I saw some in the replies, some conservatives being really like defensive about that, saying that's like a common warm up. No. We're not mocking the warm up. I can see a bunch of other people doing it correctly. I'm mocking him doing it. They're just using their legs as if they're familiar with them. Those limbs have been there for a while.
Wait, I missed it. Can I come back to it? So he doesn't do the workout. He's not even doing the warm-up.
How is it? How you doing? Good, how are you?
Hanging in.
Are you? Like clinging to life?
God.
Sorry.
It's something that is
below his waist before, JR. What do you think?
Yeah, those I saw some of those comments. That is one of the warm-ups that you do. You got the karaoke, the A skips, the B skips, and there's one where you have a higher step over, right? It looks that goofy. He looks goofier doing it. And as he was failing at, just the knee raises later, maybe he should have saved a little bit of energy. I did see people talking specifically about this one. I mean, when you got that pail of white legs like that, and you're off on this ship, and you see other people doing it a certain way,
Pete Hegseth's legs are whiter than me, and that's saying something.
Just went a little bit over the top and spent everything that he's got.
2 jars of mayonnaise.
It's something that, as the main point here is, he's supposed to be inspiring to these guys. He's supposed to be coming off badass like he always likes to do, and it just didn't do that. No. Just like his pull-up routine, when he started struggling, his knees started buckling and his feet twisted around each other, looked like a pretzel. All that stuff, he just looks bad doing these things. Athletes, when they do even that same move, because as you said, the commenter said so, they don't look that goofy doing it because it's a smooth, fluid motion. It's just, it's an extra step. You get an extra twist. I used to do some of those. I don't do them now.
Not all AI is built the same, and nowhere is that more obvious than in shipping. What makes
me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Anyway, again, the entire thing just seems so ridiculous. It is a cosplay regime.
Yes,
that's all it is. If you wanted to still be in the military, you could have done that. You got out of it. You went and did TV. Oh, I want to be a famous guy. I'm going to run for office or something. Oh, I want to be the president or something. That's what you decided to do. And I just think, I don't know what those soldiers around him are thinking. Some of them probably conservatively probably like him. They've been propagandized too. But I think about I see multiple women there. What do you think he's thinking about you at that point? We know what he thinks about you. We generally about women, but also about female soldiers. We know he has no respect whatsoever. He's already gotten rid of many of you. He'll get out more. You probably would love to see senior leadership of the different branches of the armed forces have women. He's weeded them out. Doesn't think that they belong there. Thinks that if they're there, it's just because they were women or whatever. They can't possibly have served with distinction and honor over the course of decades. Doesn't care about you. He cares about how tall, how thin you are. This ridiculous, clavicular level, looks maxing approach to what is their actual life. It's cosplay for him. He swoops in, does a little photo shoot or whatever. Then he goes back to his makeup chair at the Pentagon. It makes a mockery of it. And he will send you to your death.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
He does not care.
He wants to start all sorts of wars, and it doesn't matter if you die. So look, some of them might respect him.
For sure. What a scam.
This resolution, it's reckless and it's unserious. You're asking to remove U.S. troops in a country where we are not in conflict. Israel is killing terrorists, who I just listed off all of the attacks that have gone on just since early April, but we are not in conflict there. So you're saying we can't keep any military there. I would actually engage in a colloquy. I'd yield my colleague a little bit of time. Can we leave no military there? Representative Tlaib, I yield you 30 seconds or 10. Can we leave no military
Well,
there?
I would like to know if Ms. Karam, a university student from the Christian village of Akala in South Lebanon, she wasn't a terrorist. She was murdered on Monday. She was returning from home after completing her exams at the Lebanese University in Beirut. Look it up.
True story.
The Israeli bomb targeted her family's car, killing her alongside her brother Tony, her father James, and who was a dental surgeon in the community. He wasn't a terrorist. Our country must stop aiding in these killings.
You know what's crazy about that? It's like if you're going to go and commit a crime and say that you killed the terrorist, you have to prove it. The onus is not on the people's, condemning you for, the proof is on the person, the burden of proof is on the person that committed the crime.
Me, she was not a terrorist. She was a human
You
being.
can't prove that, she wasn't a terrorist. You have to prove that she was, bitch.
Who should be alive today.
Apparently,
a promising young
Representative
student.
Tlaib,
My colleague should know she's a promising young student.
I'm going to take back my time here,
literally
but
being
I will
erased.
give you some more time to debate. As you can see, I'll definitely give you the time. It's tough to understand you when you're yelling.
What a smug,
But
arrogant
to
bitch.
my colleague's point, please stay standing because I'll yield you more time. It's just got to be a back and forth. Apparently, they're not terrorists. Apparently, everybody that Israel was killing in Lebanon, they weren't terrorists, according to my colleague over here.
Correct. She's absolutely 1,000% correct, you dildo.
It wasn't terrorists that were firing
He
1,729
looks like a literal life-sized penis wrinkle.
rockets there, 1,680 UAVs, injuring 283, killing 15. Apparently, it wasn't terrorists that were doing
Yeah,
that.
they were defending their fucking homeland from an occupying army, you dildo.
But I would yield you time again. Will you answer my question? Can we leave no military there?
In the meantime, can I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record May 29th article from Reuters?
Can we leave no
11
military
children killed,
can
injured
we
every
leave-
24 hours in
can we
Lebanon.
leave-
Are those children Hezbollah?
I'd love to
Are
talk
those
about
children
your
terrorists?
policies.
This is from the
House will be
United
in order.
Nations.
We are not in LA anymore, people. I met these guys at my hostel. They were like, oh, I've never met an influencer before. I mentioned that I wanted to stop by a store quickly to get a pack of Pokemon cards to hand out to kids. And they were like, oh, so you're gonna exploit them, right? You're gonna do it for views? Like, you don't respect what I do. And they were like, no, not at all. This really exposed the darker side of traveling to new places. And
Oh my god, you guys. The people in a communist country didn't respect my late-stage capitalistic job, and I'm literally shaking. Oh, but the icing on the cake is that she doesn't buy the cards for the poor kids because these guys rightfully questioned her motivations.
And I internalized a piece of that stigma. Like,
Oh my god, you did? Oh my shit.
Self-conscious, honestly.
But hey,
Oh, no.
apparently the mildest form of criticism over consuming for a living is the dark side of solo travel.
The dark side of solo travel. Wait, let's just hear the first part.
we
again.
are not in LA anymore, people. I met these
Oh,
guys at
no.
my hostel. They were like, oh, I've never met an influencer before. I mentioned that I wanted to stop by a store quickly to get a pack of Pokemon cards to hand out to kids. And they were like, oh, so you're gonna exploit them, right? You're gonna do it for views? Like,
Hilarious. Cry harder, bitch. What is this? Radio Free Europe. Listen to this mysterious radio signal from day one of the U.S.-Iran war.
Listen to this. On the first day of the U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran, something strange appeared on the airwaves. A mysterious shortwave radio broadcast, a man's voice calmly reading random number sequences in Persian. Radio enthusiasts first picked it up on February 28th, the first day of the war. The broadcast follows a loose pattern, a string of numbers read aloud for 2 rounds, then a pause, then the Persian word for attention repeated 3 times, then the numbers start again. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. No one knows exactly where the signal is coming from, but radio enthusiasts have narrowed it down to somewhere in Western Europe. 5 days into the war, things got even stranger. Someone started jamming the signal. Electronic noise suddenly flooded the frequency, making the numbers nearly impossible to hear. But the broadcast didn't stop, it just moved to a different frequency. RFERL independently recorded the transmission on March 10th, meaning it has been broadcasting around 2 weeks, more or less daily. So what is it? The most common explanation is something called a number station, an
What
old-school
is it?
Cold
Tell
War
me.
spy tool, a shortwave radio broadcast used to send encrypted messages to intelligence agents around the world. Anyone can listen to the numbers, but without the decoder, the message is essentially impossible to understand. Aiken Fernandez, who's considered a guru on the subject of number stations, says it's absolutely unbreakable. The number keys are perfectly random, and figuring it out mathematically wouldn't really work either. And even if you translate them into words, the message would likely still make no sense without the right decoder key. Okay, that's the first thing. What about the jamming? Who's jamming the signal and why? So the kind of interference being used here is called a bubble jammer. Basically, it drowns out the signal so the transmission is impossible to understand. Historically, this kind of jamming was used by governments trying to block foreign broadcasts. During the Cold War, Soviet bloc countries regularly jammed broadcasts from the BBC, Deutsche Welle, or Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, which were beaming uncensored news and information into the Eastern Bloc. These days, the Persian language broadcasts, the BBC, and Radio Free Europe's Radio Farda are also being jammed by the Iranian government on a similar frequency. So if Tehran was responsible for this mysterious Persian number signal, it's pretty unlikely that Tehran will be jamming its own signal. That brings us back to the original question. Who's behind the number station broadcast? Could it be the United States sending coded messages to agents inside Iran? Or maybe it's Israel? Or how about Turkey, which is no fan of the Iranian government? Then it gets even muddier. ABC News reports that the US government had sent an alert to law enforcement agencies about an intercepted encrypted transmission. The transmission could, quote, be intended to activate or provide instructions to pre-position sleeper assets operating outside the originating country. ABC quoted the alert as saying. The CIA did not respond to requests for comment. So for now, the signal remains a mystery. What do you think? Let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments what you think.
We want to fight their reaction where all of us people to get together and have an international proletarian revolution. Right. Black people and white poor people and red poor people and Puerto Rican poor people and Latin American Puerto Rican people of poor people of all descents. They had them caught up in movements based on racism when the Black Panther Party stood up and said that we don't care what anybody says. We don't think you fight fire with fire fists, we think you fight fire with water fists. We're going to fight racism, not with racism, but we're going to fight with solidarity. We said we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight it with socialism. We stood up and said we're not going to fight reactionary pigs and reactionary state's attorneys like this and reactionary state's attorneys like Hanrahan with any other reactions on our part. We're going to fight their reaction where all of us people to get together and have an international proletarian revolution. Right on. Right on. And that's saying all power.
He sounds like Eddie Murphy if Eddie Murphy was a Marxist. I can't read that because it's in Spanish. Let's keep going. Police in Chile used water cannons to disperse protesters in Santiago. Protesters called on President Jose Antonio Cast, who we just learned about, to reserve public cuts, accusing the government of dismantling healthcare, education, and welfare programs. That's the austerity.
We're here in the meeting point for a student march that was supposed to go towards the presidential palace down Santiago's main artery. But the police are out here in force, as you can see. There are police dogs, there's water cannon, tear gas, and much, much more, pepper gas as well, we're told, because authorities overnight told the student leaders that they did not have authorization to carry out this march, but they say they're going to do it anyway. You can see that there are students on the other side of the bridge here gathering in very, very large numbers all the way down the avenue, and they are insisting that they will continue no matter what. They're protesting.
Just, the same old story across the entire world. Bolivia, Argentina, Venezuela, South Africa, everywhere you can think of.
Against the government's education policies, cuts in education spending, but also a law that the president is trying to pass in Congress that would increase the penalties for students that carry out protests, throw rocks at police, and generally come out on the streets like they're doing right now.
We didn't even see this type of aggression during the dictatorship. I don't know what's happening. I think this is a pressure cooker and that it will explode at any moment and we'll have another social uprising.
President José Antonio Cast says that it's necessary to shrink the size of the state, to reduce public spending and the budget, and also to reduce the plan that was implemented by the previous left-wing government for free tertiary education for students like these. The government says it will also take away any subsidies that students from poor neighborhoods, from poor families receive if they take part in violent demonstrations. That means that anybody who gets arrested here,
Chile.
like for example, this young man, if he has a subsidy, he could lose it. This sort of thing is clearly not going to stop the demonstrations in Chile. Students here have a long record. Excuse me, the tear gas is getting...
Yeah, shit.
Did you see that Sean Strickland got banned from the White House for talking about Israel?
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, freedom of speech is what really makes this country great. And when you can't criticize a foreign nation, come on, man. We ought to be able to criticize our own nation, let alone a foreign nation. In fact, that's the only nation you're not allowed to criticize. So something's going to change because evil empires don't last forever. There's always a rebellion. You ever seen Star Wars? That's what's going to happen, bro. Darth Vader's going to get took down.
And George Lucas wrote Star Wars as an allegory to the Vietnam War.
What are your thoughts on the UFC White House just in general? Like, do you... Obviously, you said that you didn't really want to be on the card anymore, but it's such a spectacle, right?
I don't remember ever saying that.
Okay.
I do want to be on the card.
You do want to be on the card.
I do. And this is what I got to say. First off, I ain't jealous of any of those fighters. I am so happy for those fighters. I don't think you could have got a better main event. I'm happy for every single last fighter on that card. If they need me to fill in, if I'm healthy, hey, I'll do it. For the UFC, I think it's great. It's beyond great. It's literally the perfect scenario. But as far as I'm an economics major. I love studying politics on the political side of things, not the UFC's business. That is, of course, they're going to say yes to it. But what I think personally is that our government is desecrating its role in society by entertaining sports. Our government is to protect and serve the people, and really should be as minimal as possible. And when you're doing all of this stuff, hosting sporting events, it's really outside of what the goal of the government was intended to be, because our tax dollars and resources are funding this operation.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm not criticizing the UFC. I love Dana, I love Hunter, I love Sean, Mick, I love all of them, and it's an amazing thing. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But the government should never be hosting sporting events, because there's more room for corruption, and we already have a corrupted government. And so that's my thoughts on it, is that the government is supposed to protect us, not entertain us.
Pretty good. Pretty good. That was based. I can't stand this guy. This guy responded to one of my videos. What is it? The Nutty Professor? This guy is such a loser. He called me an anti-Semite. And
I'm going to say this next part is
he also said that, like, the Middle East, it's really a complex history. And when he was weighing in about Palestine and Israel, he's like, look, it is really complicated. And he basically, is a two-state solutionist. He believes Israel has the right to self-defense and all this nonsense.
Kindly as I possibly can. Whenever we talk about the importance of, and in fact the need for violence to create...
And look at that Ashkenazi nose. I mean, come on. The comedy writes itself. And he's so smug. He's like, he condescends his audience. And he's not even that smart.
Social change, people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about will often ask, but what about Martin Luther King? What about Gandhi? What about them? That's not a good or even a relevant question. And the only way that it would or even could be is if those two men and their methods were the sum total of their respective liberation movements. But that's just simply not the case. right? That's just the lie that you've been sold by the bourgeoisie in order to keep you meek and compliant, in order to keep you thinking that if you're just polite enough, if you're just respectful enough, if you just ask often enough and long enough, that eventually the people whose wealth, power, and authority is directly tied to the cruelty that they're able to commit against you will eventually relent, but they won't.
You know why he called me an anti-Semite? Because I had a sketch where I was impersonating Israel, and I did a back and forth. And one of the cuts to Israel, I used a TikTok filter where my eyes were it was like a monster filter. So I depicted Israel as like this monster with like leopard eyes or snake eyes or something. And he's like, pause it right there. You think we don't see that you're dog whistling Nazi propaganda, trying to conflate, Jewish people as reptiles? And I'm like, who's doing the conflation here? It clearly says I'm representing the state of Israel. Now you're doing the conflation. You're saying that me representing the state of Israel as a monster is somehow saying I'm attacking the Jews now. Like, it was completely ridiculous. So after that, I was like, fuck this guy. Smug asshole.
Unless you make them. Focusing solely on those non-violent aspects.
I don't know. He's a bunch of nonsense, but he might have been saying something honest there. I don't know. I don't really care. There's so much information out there. You might as well find people that you're inspired by. Let's see. Nobody has ever humiliated Piers Morgan on live TV like George Galloway.
Piers, take your eyes off the posterior of the tiny part of the world, which is the Western world.
You think that
Africa
currently
is with
most
Iran.
of the world, you think the rest
Latin
of the world
America is with Iran.
You think the rest of the world
China is with Iran.
Yeah.
Russia is with Iran.
Russia,
All
China,
the Arabs are with Iran.
Russia, China,
Take
any
your
other
nose out of the ass
North Korea?
of the tiny number of people that you think are
Take
the
your
world.
nose
They're
out of the
not.
He called
the
him a brown
world.
noser.
Okay, so what you're about to watch is probably one of the most chaotic, most brutally honest debates Piers Morgan has ever had on his show. This didn't just go
I don't like the fact that this guy just did a reaction video. Just play the clip. You know, we don't need your commentary over it. Let it speak for itself. And I know I say that as a person that comments on clips, but that especially.
I admire the fact that you will fight for your homeland.
Yeah, that's we've seen that too. Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham's basically, a Ukrainian commander. Apparently, he's corralling the troops in Ukraine as a sitting senator for the state of South Carolina. Very weird. He spends very little time. He spends more time on the Tel Aviv Grindr app than he does in South Carolina. I'm not going on Reddit. No, we've seen this. We've seen that. We've seen all this shit so many times. We saw that too. Okay, I think we're caught up. We're all caught up here.
You're part of the lucky 5,000 people from the Middle East.
I feel like I'm the luckiest man alive living in America.
Okay, and that was George Bush Sr. I'm not a man I'm a fan of, but he did that.
Sure.
He understood the response, as did Reagan.
Yep.
You know, Donald Trump, since October, has allowed in 6,069 refugees only. Not 122,000, only 6,069. And do you know that 6,066, 99.9% of them are from white South Africa? Only 3 are Afghan.
Dude.
That's the numbers.
Are you serious?
That's a fact.
Okay, you're serious.
Pull it up, Rob. 6,000 refugees, all of them are white South Africans fleeing from an imaginary
The
genocide.
previous guy brought more people than 4 presidents combined.
Hold on, he brought in 125,000
He's trying to say, guys, time out. Let's get jobs for our people.
No, we're
a
talking about
bit.
refugees. Refugees are different. It's not about jobs. Refugees, your
Give me
international
specific,
obligation.
like you're talking
the refugee
H-1B,
program.
green card, which one are you talking? Okay,
refugees,
got it.
vetted by, the vetted program.
Sure.
Where you're vetted abroad. You check you're not a terrorist, all of that stuff.
That's what we
happened
did.
to you?
Yes, 18 months
Biden did
we
it too. He allowed 125,000 people. He upped the cap.
Okay.
Trump dropped the cap with Stephen Miller to 7,500.
Okay.
And since October, he allowed in 6,069, according to the
I
Washington
want to know
Post.
where you're going with this.
He allowed in only 3 Afghans and 6,066 white people from South Africa. The 2 things I would say about that. Number 1, that's racist. You let in 99.9% of your refugees are white people who are not refugees, and you don't allow people from Iran, Iraq, Syria. And the second point is, Donald Trump wouldn't have allowed you into this country, and yet you sit and support. You voted for him 3 times. Donald Trump would not have allowed little Patrick Bet David into this country. How do you feel about that?
You're so funny.
A genuine question.
You are so funny.
It's a genuine question.
He wouldn't have let little Patrick Bed.
No Iranians were allowed in this year. So how would you have gotten?
You know what would have happened? We would have waited 1 more year, 2 more years
for a Democrat to come and let you in.
Bush Senior let us in. He was a Republican. Don't act like
for a better Republican.
No, but that's
a non-racist
That's
Republican.
not the point. The part that
is the point. He did not allow
Yeah,
in.
they both suck. I agree with you, Saeed.
Iranians,
issues.
Iraqi.
Mehdi.
Donald Trump has blocked refugees like.
But I mean, you know, Mehdi could. I mean, Patrick. If anybody could make Mehdi Hassan look good, it's Patrick Bet David.
Patrick Bet David would not have been allowed into America
find a way to get
under
him.
Donald
You don't
Trump.
know me
You would have
well
come in illegally.
I would have
You're
came here
pro-illegal immigration.
Illegal immigration.
You heard it here. You're going to clip
What?
Ilhan Omar, clip that. Patrick Bet David said if he wasn't allowed in illegally, he would come in illegally.
The difference between you and I, this doesn't bother me.
Hezbollah is a terrorist organization from the gentlelady from Michigan, and its members are butchers.
All right, what do you guys want to watch next?
The problem with capitalism and the status quo of neoliberalism is that
Abby Martin said the C word. That's so refreshing.
Everything's been co-opted, superficialized, tokenized. Our struggles have been bought.
She would, you know, she's based. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, finally.
And sold back to us. And so for the last 50 years, labor density, unions, that revolutionary undercurrent of all the progressive struggles, it's been kind of co-opted in these like corporate branding and marketing campaigns. And
Boom Boom, please. I wish I could give you some Boom Boom Tel Aviv action. I would love a palate cleanser. Do you guys have any palate cleansers for me? I'll do it. I'll do it. Here's something about the Section 224. This isn't
Lebanon, and they're not going to attack south of the Litani River. And Hezbollah, Lebanon stated that it has no hostile intentions toward Israel and reportedly designated Hezbollah as an enemy of the Lebanese state.
Right.
So it's all, you know, then Hezbollah rejected, said, who cares what the Lebanese government is talking about? The war is going on, and as long as Israel...
Play old clips? Like, what kind of old clips? I don't want to watch things I've already seen. What's the point of that?
...is in the southern part of Lebanon, we're going to attack them. Right. And where are we? How do you see the situation between Lebanon and Israel, which is so critical, in my opinion, than the situation in the Persian Gulf, and more critical than the situation we are having between Iran and the United States in the Persian Gulf?
You got this essentially Quisling or collaborationist government in Beirut siding with the Americans and the Israelis, coming up with this ceasefire plan that's just basically an agreement among themselves. It doesn't include Hezbollah at all in terms of how it was constructed, so it's completely meaningless. It will be used, of course, for public relations purposes, propaganda purposes. Oh, look, Hezbollah is breaking the ceasefire. The terms of the ceasefire, as I've seen them, are absolutely ludicrous. I mean, this is just Orwellian. The Lebanese who are fighting against an occupier are the ones who need to leave the southern Lebanon. The occupier doesn't need to leave southern Lebanon. You have the Lebanese government, which has declared, as you said, Hezbollah an enemy of the state, or whatever phrase they used, essentially also giving commands to Hezbollah. They've established these pilot zones. Who knows? I don't even know what that means, where they came up with that term from. And supposedly the Lebanese army is going to go and garrison these zones. No idea what happens with UNIFIL. I still don't understand what's going to happen with the United Nations peacekeeping force there, which is about 6,000 or 7,000 peacekeepers. The whole thing is just this insular agreement between the Americans and the Israelis that the compliant Lebanese government went along with. And so it's a farce. It's an absolute farce. It's nothing more than a press statement among three powers that agreed to the continued ethnic cleansing of southern Lebanon.
What is your understanding of the way that Israel is fighting Lebanon in the southern? Because if they're winning or they have the upper hand in the southern part, why do they need to go to Dahia? Why do they need to go to Beirut to attack Beirut if they're winning?
Yeah, they want to go to Beirut because they want to go to Beirut. I mean, that's part of it. Is they want to. The Israelis, for a number of reasons, want to take as much land as they can, and they want to cause as much harm as they can. They want to get as much land because this, the idea of Greater Israel extending up into Lebanon goes back 120, 140 years, however long that was. And, but also too, in the future, if there is somehow, right now we're really speculating because I don't see this happening. I don't think you do either. But say there is an agreement between the United States and Iran that ends all of the war in the Middle East, including this Israel-Lebanon war, then the Israelis want to have as much ground under their feet as possible. They want to have, as the Israelis term it, facts on the ground, right? They want to take as much. So if you think that in 60 days there's going to be an agreement, a deal that shuts down the wars, let's get as much as we can in 60 days. So they want to also too, in terms of, they certainly don't believe or have a desire to push all the way north with their ground forces to Beirut. They don't have the capability to do that. But so why do they need to bomb Beirut? Well, it's to terrorize the Lebanese into submission. It's to put pressure on the Lebanese government, to terrorize the Lebanese population, to try and drive a wedge between within Lebanon, somehow create maybe even a civil war, return Lebanon back to the 1970s and 1980s if they can. So this idea then, if the Israelis believe that if they won, they either get a cowing of the Lebanese population by bombing Beirut and other cities. If they, specifically they would bomb areas that are sympathetic or allied with Hezbollah, but some of those bombs are going to fall outside of those areas. So then it's an issue then of not simply terrorizing your opponent, but then also trying to drive a wedge in between the various groups within Lebanon and get those.
I'm just trying to find and see where he talks about Section 224.
Israeli bombs would be blamed on Hezbollah's actions. That if Hezbollah didn't attack Israel, then we wouldn't be being bombed by Israel. Like that type of rationale, that argument. And that's something the Israelis believe they can push, they can use to try and, again, cause these divisions within Lebanon to try and divide and conquer. I think we're seeing a number of that, as well as, too, we got to remember that it's called the Dahia Doctrine for a reason, because this is where the Israelis established this concept of operations, this doctrine, that bombing civilians for the sake of bombing civilians, killing and murdering and maiming and ripping apart men, women, and children for those purposes alone, right? The idea it's a terror campaign. And the Israelis have been, certainly very competent at creating terror campaigns, especially in Lebanon. You go back to how the Israelis conducted themselves in the 1980s, whether it was the use of artillery, bombing, tanks, but also the use of militias, the use of car bombs, right? I mean, those are all the Israeli tactics we saw back then. And the idea being try and terrorize your opponents into submission.
How did you find the way that Israeli announcement, then Iranian reaction, and the phone call between Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump, which was reported by Axios that Donald Trump was somehow saying to Benjamin, that's the only reason that you're out of prison because of me, and without me, Israel would be destroyed, and this sort of nonsense that he's putting out. And here is what Benjamin Netanyahu said about the phone call.
Talk about the call that you had with him this week, which is getting a lot of attention. The president confirmed that he said you're effing crazy. How did you react to that? What really happened in that call?
Well, I'm not going to get into details of our conversations. We've had thousands, a lot of them. And if you think this is a crisis, you should be in some other conversations. But we've always found a way. We have so many agreements. We agree on the main things. We want to get the nuclear program in Iran finished. We want to make sure that Iran doesn't pose a threat to Israel, to the Middle East, to America, that it doesn't develop nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, not only to Israel and to every capital in Europe, but to every city in the United States. That's our common goal. That's what we set out to do. And to expand the circle of peace, as the president and I did in the Abraham Accords together. So we have common goals. Sometimes we have, as in the best of families, you have these tactical disagreements. We always find a way to work them out. And we do so as great friends. We can disagree in the morning, and by the afternoon, we have common action.
So I was going to say,
but this afternoon is going to be so long. I think the problem is so serious for Donald Trump, and he knows what's going on, and it's not going to be that easy for him. That's why he's reacting. He's communicating this way with Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, no, I believe that the story. I believe, well, first of all, Trump is known to have a temper. Trump is known to curse people out, but also too in the pantheon of world leaders, past and present, Benjamin Netanyahu may have been maybe the greatest shit stirrer of them all. I mean, you've heard.
What is a Sennheiser HD 558? The headphones? I don't know what you're referring to. Are you paying attention, Thugbone? I don't know what are they? I don't know. They're cheap as I've bought new headphones and then they break, and then because I hate these headphones, and yeah, they are Sennheisers. I really don't even remember where I got them. They're so old and fake and gay, but they haven't crapped out on me. That's the only reason. I even bought more expensive headphones, but they didn't work, so I'm using these crappy ones. Does that answer your question, Thugbone? Clearly, you're interested in some of the more significant pressing issues that we've been covering on the stream, of course.
From Bill Clinton, supposedly when Netanyahu first met Bill Clinton, Netanyahu comes in the Oval Office, and when he leaves, Bill Clinton is just apoplectic. Who the hell does that guy think he is?
Stop telling me when I can't chimp out, okay? If I chimp out, that's my prerogative. What do you have against chimps?
Obama was...
Stop being racist. Chimps did nothing wrong. Thanks, Charlie. That's real cute of you, too. You little butt pirate.
Caught on a hot mic with Sarkozy or Hollande or someone, bad mouthing, complaining about him. I mean, this is what he does. But in this case in particular, Donald Trump is in a trap. Donald Trump is stuck. He's in this war that Benjamin Netanyahu helped lead him into. Some would say Netanyahu pushed him into it. And this is a war that Donald Trump can't win, and he can't seem to get out of it.
I'm going to be honest.
And so now you have...
I don't know what we should watch right now. That's why I just put this on. So if you have some more link suggestions, I'm kind of tapped out at this point with links and things to cover. Maybe it's just because it's a slow news day. I'm not sure, but I'm asking for help from my community. If you have things that you'd like me to cover, join the Discord or share it on the Discord if you're already joined. But we're gonna take a few more minutes, I think, of this podcast and just see if there's anything else. I don't have any. There's no boom boom, Pergamot. What do you want me to do? You want me to call in an airstrike? I wish I had that kind of power, but I don't. Let's just watch a Sennheiser headphone review. Yeah, that sounds awesome, Saeed. You really don't want me to have an audience, do you? You just want you to have me as... Wait, I'm confused now. How did I say that? Boring. Okay, 420. Have you ever considered maybe you're just a boring person? Should I just talk to you guys? Is that what you want? You want to do? You want to just ask me questions? You want to engage in some gay banter? What are we doing here, folks? What we could put on a song. We could put on a song from my channel that is way better than any other song that you could ever think of. What did we call that? It was called the Bomb Shelter Shuffle. That's what it was. Oh, yeah. It's actually not my song. It's a Waxy Corpse Bride song. She made this for us. Oh, I definitely need to put the playback. Okay. All right, palette cleanser. Now slide.
Hope we survive. Now run, now run. It's a wild surprise. Netanyahu made a call, struck her and no cause at all. Now the sirens start to scream. Was this part of the master scheme? Oh no, here we go. Digging deep down below. Should've thought it through. Now we're stuck in this zone. To the left, on the fallen test. To the right, how long will this last? Now duck, hope we get out alive. Now pray for the ceasefire. Thought we flex, show our might. Now we're dodging bombs all night.
I'm told that if you dance to this, it is a hate crime. So just proceed with caution.
pack some snacks. 'Cause this might take
I
a
hope
while.
you pack some snacks.
The mic and the bomb shelter door. Pause that for a wartime bop. Thought we'd flex, show a night. Bombs are falling fast. To the right, to the right. How long will this last? Now duck, now duck. Hope we get out alive. Now pray for a ceasefire. Thought we'd flex, show a light. Bombs are falling fast. To the right, to the right. How long will this last? Now duck. Hope we get out alive. Now pray for a ceasefire. Thought we'd flex, show our might. Now we're dodging bombs all night. Our is mad, they won't forget. Should we really take that bet? Hey, listen up. We hit them first, now they hit us back. Maybe next time check the facts. 'Cause the shelter life is whack. To the left. Sirens will again. To the right. Where will this thing end? Now high. No place left to go. Now dance in this bunker show.
That's right. Dance in this bunker show, bitches. Okay, well, that gave me some time to look up some new stuff happening on Twitter. Let's see, this is a post from... let's pop this up. Pop it up and pop it out. That's what I always say. No, I never say that. That's just a joke. What, you laughing at me? I can't lie to my audience. Come on, I would never lie to you. I'm a terrible liar. That's why I can stream, because I always tell the truth. I'm the antidote to Israeli propaganda. I have a commitment to being honest, with integrity. It's true. Trump has went from wanting regime change to complimenting the younger Khamenei who replaced the old Khamenei. This is what defeat looks like. Now, an interesting point to add to this is, because I listen to Larry Johnson almost daily, and he seems to think that the reports that he and Pepe Escobar have been giving about Iran possessing a nuclear weapon, or at least, it's become a meme at this point, but apparently there's on good authority, someone involved in the Pakistani intelligence leaked this information, and it's rumored that Iran either possesses a nuclear weapon or at least is. I know it's the same thing that Netanyahu's been saying, right? They're weeks away, but Larry Johnson also says, like, look at how Donald Trump has changed, with his messaging after this supposedly was relayed to Marco Rubio via the Pakistan mediators that Iran is acquiring this nuclear weapon or already has it and will withdraw from the JCPOA or the Non-Proliferation Treaty formally, and then they will test a nuclear weapon on their soil to establish deterrence. And I know I'm drawing this out a lot, but Larry Johnson says if you look at if you look at Trump's statements as of late, he seems to be very conciliatory to the Iranians, and he thinks that's the reason why. So anyway, let's see what this clip says.
The new Ayatollah, the new supreme leader.
I don't want to meet, but if I did meet, I'd be honored to meet him. I'd like to see if we make a deal. But if we make a deal...
The legless Gayatollah, right, that Fox News likes to characterize him as, the guy that Donald Trump murdered his entire family, just about, and now he's saying he'd be honored to meet the person who he amputated or who he mutilated, ostensibly, allegedly. We don't know if that's actually true. That might not very well be true at all. It's just something that Fox News likes to say and Donald Trump likes to tease. But nobody really knows. But I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
It's possible that I would meet him. I'd be okay with it.
Would that happen here in the U.S.?
I don't know, Peter. I haven't really heard too much about it. I didn't suggest it, but some people have suggested it. If it happened, it would be happened.
If it happened, it would be happened.
Do you think because Epic Fury killed his dad and his wife?
Yeah, motherfucker, you killed his dad, right?
That he's got hard feelings?
And his wife, and his kid.
Well, I would say I'm not his favorite person. But with that being said, he's probably a...
Man, he's usually so good at hyperbole. That seems like an understatement.
I don't know. He's probably a professional. In some circles, he has a very good reputation, actually. Sometimes some people say bad, but a lot of people say bad about me. Totally false, of course.
A lot of people. Lots of people say bad things about me, says Donald Trump. Completely false, though. It's very Israeli of him. It's never anything he's doing.
On jobs, tomorrow the jobs report will...
Abir says these people are built differently, bringing life into an apocalyptic reality, of course referring to Gaza. Let's see. The Knicks, okay? And fuck the other team. Who are they going up against? Nobody cares, all right? Whether it's the Knicks that win or the Spurs, we know who really wins in the end. And his name is David. Crazy historical circumstances that they were born into, of which they had no control over. None of them did. I wonder when is it going to dawn on a kid's, in a kid's life that, like, what happened to their child and in their childhood was not normal whatsoever. But it's the only thing that they've ever known, It's really sad. U.S. taxpayers dump $434,000 every single hour into Israel. Yeah, we can't let the Knicks win because then Mamdani's going to have his socialist paradise. That sounds awful. $434,000 per hour based on the current $3.8 billion annual U.S. military aid to Israel under the 2016 Memorandum of Understanding. Calculation: $3.8 billion divided by 8,760 hours is $433,000 per hour. Let's see another based Putin clip. He says, President Putin, excuse me, burpty burp. Sorry about that. That was very unprofessional. President Putin is talking about Zelensky. You know what he says? He says he is a Jew. You remember, his grandfather was fighting against Nazis. I think he is turning in his grave now.
And the current head of the Kiev regime is doing that. And he's a Jew. Remember, his grandfather...
I like how he said, he's a Jew!
was fighting against Nazis. I think he's turning in his grave now. And the current...
Yep, now his grandson is fighting on behalf of Nazis. Danny the Gnome says, during the war, I received a strange call from Tucker Carlson. Today I reveal what he said.
Unfortunately, anti-Semitism is everywhere. But I got a phone call.
Unfortunately, that's what you love. You pride yourself on anti-Semitism being everywhere. If anti-Semitism wasn't everywhere, there would be no reason for the state of Israel. In fact, the reason that anti-Semitism, whatever that fucking means, let's just accept the term on face value, the reason that anti-Semitism is worldwide, everywhere, is because of the one and only Jewish state.
The war from Tucker Carlson. He called me and he told me, Ambassador, can you please take me off the list? And I was shocked. I told him, what are you talking about? told me I'm being attacked by the Jews. So maybe you have like a list. Can you take me off the list? So I waited for a minute and I told him, Mr. Carlson,
A whole minute?
we don't have a list.
That's not what Daniel Hagari said. He said there is a list. Now you're saying there is no list?
Being attacked because you're spreading lies, blood libels against our soldiers. My son was in Gaza when he called me that day.
Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have been there. Your son was in occupied territory, mowing down civilians.
You're spreading anti-Semitism. You're hosting anti-Semites. So you're being attacked. But you know, when we finished the call, I thought to myself, no, maybe we should have a list. Maybe it's about time.
Like the Mossad doesn't have a list. Come on.
Go to promote anti-Semitism.
I just hope on that list, I hope our names are touching. That's all. I think that'd be sweet.
Of those who are hosting anti-Semites on podcasts.
I got a comment the other day. It says, they said my full legal name, and they said, we're coming after you next. And then, what did it say? It said, we're coming after you next. We know where you live. And they used my full legal name. I was like, oh, ooh, ah. I get death threats all the time.
And fight back. And I think we have to do it because it's not going anywhere. It's going to be with us, and it's brutal, it's a war, and we have to stand up and fight it.
Danny Danon. And just after he said that, he pooped his pants. Sorry. Adam says Palantir is Skynet. Isn't Skynet from 1984? Wasn't that the surveillance thing? Oh, it's Terminator. That's right. Skynet is the iconic fictional main antagonist of the Terminator franchise. A self-aware artificial general super intelligence created by Cyberdyne Systems. Yeah, so actually Cyberdyne Systems would be Palantir, and Skynet would be Gotham, the Gotham AI, or you know, whatever AI program they use, Lavender, Where's Daddy, all of it together. In the lore, when its human creators realize it has become sentient and try to deactivate it, Skynet perceives humanity as an existential threat, retaliates by launching a global nuclear holocaust known as Judgment Day. Dr. Morandi says, we will not forget Trump started his illegal, genocidal war against the Iranian people by slaughtering these innocent children, their teachers, and the elementary school staff in Manab. He, his allies, and accomplices will always be the enemy, no doubt. My real name is Cornelius McGillicuddy. That's not true. My real name's Jeffrey Spinach. Spin that shit, says Mr. Spinach. A lot of people don't realize that my name is actually Rathbone. No, it's not my first name, but it is a name. It is my name. It's my family name. It's my middle name. So I have some agency. I have some license to use that name, and I didn't just pick it out of a hat. Okay, that was given to me by my pedigree, my heritage. Anyway, while everyone is talking about equality and the burden, this is from Ben Gavir, who should be in prison right now. He says, since I took office, we have recruited about 1,400 Haredim to the police, Haredim, the prison service, and the national security bodies, 186% increase. And as part of the Haredi recruitment reform, I established the Haredi Border Guard Company event. Yesterday, I arrived at the company to strengthen the fighters and express appreciation to the pioneers and trailblazers. who prove that it's possible to preserve heredity, identity, and make a significant contribution to the security of the state of Israel. Proud of them and the path they're leading. Wait, they're so proud. They're so proud. They gotta blur out their faces. Hilarious. They always do this. They're so prideful, but they can't show their fucking faces. Is that pride or is that cowardice?
אנחנו כאן סיור של מג"ב עוטף ירושלים, פלוגה חרדית, אבנט. באתי להגן על ההר, לתת מה שאפשר. אני בעזרת השם שואף לצאת עם משה. במרחק של 3 דקות מאיתנו ואנחנו בעצם בתוך רמאללה. איזה כיף לראות את החבר'ה האלה שבאמת מגשימים הלכה למעשה את החזון. גם לומדים תורה, גם מתפללים וגם לוחמים. אנחנו כאן סיור של מג"ב עוטף ירושלים.
And then he's miming jerking off his chode. Look, you see that at the end?
וגם לוחמים. אנחנו כאן סיור של מג"ב עוטף ירושלים, פלוגה חרדית, אבנט. באתי להגן על ההר, לתת מה שאפשר.
Caitlin Johnstone says, people like me take great pains to avoid coming across as an anti-Semite in our criticisms of Israel. That ship has sailed for me. I don't know about you guys, but, you know, after October 7th, I made video after video after video, making it very clear, Zionism is not Judaism. When we attack the state of Israel, the national political project of the settler colony that is Israel, which preaches this ideology of Jewish supremacy, that is not actually the Judaism religion, right? And then, you know, you still get called. It doesn't matter what you do. So it's like, fuck it. I mean, if I'm gonna have to take on this identity, I might as well cash in, you know, at least make it worth my while. So there you go. I've given up on it. I don't care anymore. I've seen one too many blown up babies. I've seen too many rape stories out of the state of Israel. I've seen too much depravity. They're the worst. I think the least of our problems is anti-Semitism and trying to be so specially nuanced about Zionism and Judaism. And it's like, and then you realize that like most Jews support Zionism anyway. It's like sometimes you got to call a spade, okay? And yet there's a lot of individual Jewish people that are anti-Zionist who are some of the loudest voices and some of the most educating voices. And we know who they are. I don't have to say their names, but they've been a very big influence on my understanding. And yet when you start talking about the Jewish people, my eyes glaze over. I don't want to hear about it. I don't think like that. We can go into why, all right? You could read a book called The Invention of the Jewish People, for example, by Shlomo Sand, an Israeli, who, or at least, I don't know if he's Israeli. Maybe we could look at that up, but, you know, I'm not pulling this shit out of my ass hole. I mean, he is an Israeli historian, okay. He's an Israeli socialist, if you can believe that. An emeritus professor of history at Tel Aviv. He is internationally famous, deeply controversial for his post-Zionist historical critiques that challenge mainstream Zionist narratives, traditional Jewish historiography, and the foundational myths of the modern state of Israel, including the myth of the Jewish people. So there it is, The Invention of the Jewish People, 2008. I still want to read this. I went to the bookstore the other day. They didn't have it. I was very pissed, so I was like, I'm calling it an airstrike. Let's burn this bookstore down. That was deeply anti-Semitic. Kelly Marie, thank you for the super. I appreciate that. Anti-Semitism is exploited as the hierarchy of outrage. That's an interesting phrase I've never heard before. King Leopold killed an estimated 15 million Congolese. He was alive when Hitler was. But no one cares because they're just Africans. There is worthy victims and unworthy victims. Africans are worthy victims. That's the role that they play. Palestinians, worthy victims. Unworthy victims, people that are not worthy enough to be branded as a victim. Well, I guess you could flip it. You could flip it and say, well, Jews are only worthy victims and Palestinians are unworthy of their victimhood. It depends on how you look at it, but I think you get the point, right? There's a double standard, depending on what social or ethnic group that you belong to and how much money that group has. Because ultimately, it's really just a war against poor people. Palestinian people are poor, therefore they don't deserve human rights. That's really what it boils down to. And they don't have a nuke. That's another thing. But you asked ChatGPT what a Rathbone is, and it says a giant piece of crap. Okay, thank you. That's really nice. It's really... Who are you again? Why are you here again? Can somebody look up this guy here? What's his early life history? No, I'm just trolling him. He's just being a hot dog. See, people just trying to like troll me because they know that if they get under my skin, I'm gonna react, and they rage bait me, and it works every time. It works like a charm. I'm not gonna fault them for that. That's a good strategy because you know how I operate. You know that I tend to pay attention to the one negative comment out of a sea of positivity. So you understand my psychology, and fuck you for that a little bit, all right? How dare you? He's such a wiener. I know, Saeed, you're so right. Saeed just like me, for real, for real. Oh, don't blame the messenger, says Hot Dog. Yeah, sure thing. You little turd burglar. I'm surprised you took a break from burgling turds to join our live stream here and totally shit all over the place. Thank you. Clean up on aisle hot dog, whatever the aisle that has hot dogs on it. They're just clout chasing, you know? They just want attention. That's it. So I didn't this is crazy. I didn't realize that he wrote more than, I mean, I'm sure he wrote more than one book, but I didn't know about him. But apparently the 3 books that he wrote, what's known as the Core Trilogy, is The Invention of the Jewish People, global bestseller, launched this author into international prominence. Let's just recap. In it, he argues that the fictional first-century Roman exile of the Jews from Palestine never actually happened. Instead, he asserts that the majority of modern Jews are descendants of diverse populations across Europe and the Middle East who converted to Judaism over centuries, such as the Khazars. Remember, Khazarian? That's where the Ashkenazi Jews, the Chosenites, that's where they come from. Certain demographic. Everywhere else is just sparkling pagans. You have to be a Jew from the Southern Caucasus. So that's another thing that's an interesting point, which is that Judaism is a proselytizing religion. How could it be also a national ethnic identity if you're converting people to it? I never heard of an ethnicity that you can convert to. Somehow, you know, of the 3 major religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, although I don't know that Judaism by the numbers is a major religion. I mean, it represents 0.2% of the global population, something like that. How is that a major religion? It's majorly overrepresented in public life, I'll give you that. But of the 3 main religions that we know about, which is Islam, Christianity, Judaism, only Judaism is considered an ethno-religion for some reason. And I think that's another indication that Jewish supremacist values and principles and ideas have pervaded our society. They've become part of a tacitly accepted culture. We just accept that the Jews are the chosen people, and they're not just a religion, they're an ethno-religion. And apparently, ethno-religion, and I can look this up too, was a concocted term, contrived in like 2014. I heard that. I haven't fact-checked that, but that's what I heard. That's what the word is around the campfire. You were Pastafarian, huh? Ethno-religion is not a thing. Thank you. Thank you. I agree. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. It's funny how it's so many different things. They're a culture. We're an ethnicity. We're a race. We're a religion. We're a nationality. I also go back to the idea that, or to the talking point that, you know, Jews tell us that they're the chosen people. Why? Because they have a special assignment from God. The one person no one can ask to verify this evidence, that's the one entity that gave them this special privilege of being chosen above all other peoples. It's the one guy we can't ask, or that we even know who exists. In the first place, I'll leave that to you to decide, but what was God's assignment given to the Jews? God's assignment, according to Jews, was that Jews were chosen to establish a holy nation. So, in my mind, when you start talking about nations and nationalities, you cease to be a religion. That's a political project at that point. It's not people in synagogues praying. I feel like religion is very personal, you know? You know, participating in a religion is just, you know, believing in the ideas and then, you know, practicing the religion. And that's an individual experience. That's your spirituality, right? The moment that you start commanding a standing army and ethnically cleansing and establishing a nation state, I think it turns into something completely different, wouldn't you? But my point is that from its inception, Judaism has always been a national, and thereby, because it's national, it's also a political project. So do with that information what you will. But let's get back to the core trilogy of Shlomo Sand's book. So he goes from the invention of the Jewish people in 2008 to the invention of the land of Israel in 2012. This follow-up dismantles the historical, religious, and political claims made by Zionism regarding ancestral territory. Sand argues that the Holy Land was traditionally viewed in Judaism as a sacred spiritual concept, not a physical homeland. So he's arguing that sort of what I was just saying, that when they talked about a holy nation, that was just a spiritual concept and not a physical homeland meant for mass geopolitical migration and nation building. Thank you. His final book is very anti-Semitic. It's called How I Stopped Being a Jew. People are going to be like, why did you say it like that? Yeah, I know that's what it says, but why did you say it like that, though? But why did you say the word Jew like Jew? It's not that you said the word Jew, it's the way that you said it, and that's a hate crime. It was your tone. I find that really funny. So I like to, you know, mix it up a bit. The final book is an intimate polemical essay explaining his personal resignation from his Jewish identity. Sand argues that Israel has transformed into an ethnocentric and discriminatory society. He expressed that he felt forced into a fictitious ethnos of persecutors. That's a mouthful. and chose instead to identify purely as an Israeli citizen. You mean Israeli settler? Israeli occupier? Occupied Palestinian citizen? So Sand's assertions have made him a polarizing figure worldwide. Mainstream Israeli and Western historians heavily criticized his books, as you might expect, arguing that his conclusions are built on flawed data, cherry tomato-picked genetic studies, and a lack of specialization in ancient Jewish history. Political alignment. While Sand strongly condemns Israel's military occupation of Palestine, he does not advocate for the destruction of Israel. Well, fuck him then. Fuck you, Shlomo. I never met a good Shlomo. This is like, I found this devastating comment. Let me see if I can find it. From Stu Peters. I just thought of it. Do you guys want to hear it? But do you guys like want to see it? I'm probably not going to find it now. Let's see. It was on Jake Shields. Maybe I could find it here. Let me see here for a second. Jake Shields had a post here. Look at this. He says this should have been America over the Epstein files. The situation is completely out of control. Albania is erupting for the second consecutive day in angry mass protests against the Kushner land seizure deal worth $4 billion. Opera. Damn, Albania maxing right there. That's awesome. This can't be real. I mean, I know the AI video is not real, but is this real? It says, Netanyahu demands Trump. Oh, wait, no, this is definitely not real. Oh, my God, I misread this. So Netanyahu demands Trump be the ring girl for UFC 250 freedom at the White House. Bibi reportedly said, we need the most tremendous ring girl in history, tremendous legs. Nobody does it better. Trump, already in bikini and heels, says, low-energy ring girls are sad. I'm making MMA great again. History in the making.
Wow, this is so weird. What the hell is Trump doing? And look at Bibi.
Dude, there's no way Trump looks like that in a bikini. That he's way too fit to be Trump.
He's loving every second of this. I'm astonished. Sean Strickland was 100% right. I might lose my job after this, but ladies and gentlemen, our nation has fallen.
Wow. I don't think so. I think we're back. We're the hottest country in the world. America needs a champion. Jeffrey Epstein was Jack D's. Everybody's talking about UFC.
I want to talk about this because I think it's wrong. I just posted this photo. Now, this photo to me, it's really important. It's a photo where I'm expressing my emotions of frustration because I'm an elite athlete who wants to do my job. I want to fight the best guys in the world. I want to prove that I'm one of the best in the world, and I can only do that by fighting and being active in the sport. I've been waiting since November to fight, and it is the single hardest thing for me to do. So when I post a photo of me banging my head against the brick wall
I thought I was going to say banging your mom.
Frustration.
That's what I would do.
Then I'm not happy. And I have to wait for the politics of this game and this sport. So when I post this photo about banging my head off the wall, and people have the audacity and the...
Dude, bro, catch your breath. I can't do that anymore. That was giving me anxiety. Something about punching some drywall and drinking a bunch of Monster energy drinks. I don't know. I'm trying to find this comment. From Stu Peters. Is this a joke, guys? I also can't believe this. The only American UFC champion had his tickets revoked, and now Erica Kirk is going to host? Is Erica Kirk really hosting the White House Fight Night on June 14th? Is this real? Please tell me. This is beyond parody. Satire is dead. Okay, it is satire, thank God. The image is from a parody account which posts satirical fake news. Okay, got me. I got. No official UFC sources confirm Erica Kirk as host for the White House event. Oh man, I can't find it. And it was so eloquently put that if I tried to paraphrase it, it just wouldn't come off right. So I'm not going to do that. But just trust me, guys. It was really funny. It just everybody just like let's just laugh and clap at the joke that we didn't get to see. Yeah, that was good, right? Yes, indeed. Okay. Let's see. Did I have any more reposts here? According to a Pew Research poll, across 36 countries, a median of 67% of adults have an unfavorable view of Israel. That's it? Just 67? I mean, that is the majority, but Nick Cruz is right, way too low considering Israel holds the right to rape rallies. You can't make this shit up. Benjamin Netanyahu has appointed Lieutenant Colonel Guy Marchizzeno to the role of his military secretary. Seems like he's been appointing his cronies. Seems like he's laying the groundwork for stealing the election later this year. Why does he have to appoint a new military secretary? Is it because the other one got droned? That's a hilarious picture. I gotta save that. That's just too good. Colonel Mosquito won't last long. Colonel Mosquito, somebody said. All right. Remember how Donald Trump said, "BB, you're fucking crazy." Mark Levin heard this and he responds, he says, "Hezbollah is fucking crazy. Launching more drones into Israel. Maybe you should get the fuck out of their land then, Mark Levine. I don't know. It's crazy." Nick Cruz is reporting that the DSA NATO left, that's a good way of putting it there, Nick, very, very nicely done, is still furious at Chris Smalls for calling out their liberal Zionist queen, AOC. These people are the enemy of the working class. And then it's responding to this post that says, "I wrote on the meteoric rise and narcissistic fall of Chris Smalls for Jacobin." Jacobin is another liberal propaganda publication. Small, it's basically the DSA stenographer. Small shot to prominence for playing a key role in the shock union win at a New York Amazon warehouse. But in the years since, his own ego has overwhelmed his political contributions. And this motherfucker has been tortured by the state of Israel. He was on board one of the flotillas, and he was detained and imprisoned, basically kidnapped, and tortured by the IDF. But apparently these liberal, like Nick Cruz says, DSA NATO leftists say, well, his ego has overwhelmed his political contributions. I mean, what are you talking about? You fucking keyboard warrior? Oh, look, I can't even view the post. I wanted to leave a comment. That's so dumb. This guy started the first labor union for Amazon. The first ever. I mean, when you want to talk about political contributions? How about real economic contributions? Motherfucker started a labor union. And he's delivered aid. He attempted to deliver aid to Gaza before he got kidnapped by the IDF. Shut the fuck up. Oh my God, the Daily Wire. I don't think so. I can't read that. That's a waste of time. Okay. I think that's most of my posts there. We've read the Conflicts Forum. Let's see, do you guys have any more links on the Discord? Looks like you do. This is Iranian hacking. Okay, so here's an update from AZ107 who posted earlier about the Iranian hacking group Handala announcing that one of their Israeli agents assassinated the head of Mossad's newly established Iran desk. Israel admits that a former police officer was killed. Here's a follow-up. The Mossad agent who was killed by Handala's field operatives. I don't get it.
Are you gay or straight? I'm straight. Do you think other people would think that? I mean, not by the way I look. Do you think he's gay or straight?
Yeah, he's looking a little gay, bro.
Why do you think so?
Like, he's kind of like looking a little weird.
Now, are you gay or straight?
I'm straight.
Do you think other people would think that?
Probably not, because I go to the gym and like I'm getting muscular, so other men are impressed.
Do you think he's gay or straight?
He's gay.
Why do you think so?
Just because of the look on his face.
Now, are you gay or straight?
Straight.
Do you think other people would think that?
I've been called gay before.
Do you think he's gay or straight?
He probably gay.
Psycho bunny.
Why do you think so?
Dudes that go to the gym and stuff, they be gay.
Now, are you gay or straight?
I'm straight.
Do you think other people would think that?
Yeah, they don't think I'm straight.
Do you think he's gay or straight? Yeah. Why do you think so?
Teeth on the tongue, like his mouth. He's like looking at you, submissive.
Now, are you gay or straight?
Straight.
Do you think other people would think that?
Hope so.
Do you think he's gay or straight?
He's pretty gay.
Why do you think so?
The hair, the eyes, the lips, the nose, the cheeks, the chin, the ears. It's pretty gay.
It's pretty, yeah, he's got ears and the curly hair, and look at his chin and the way that his cheeks are proportional to the forehead. It's very gay. It's all very gay. Wow, that was really funny. Oh, shit. It's a violent robot. Speaking of Skynet. And so it begins.
You gay or straight?
I'm straight.
You think other people gonna think that?
People think I'm gay. I've done gay shit, but I'm not gay.
You feel like
I've done gay shit, but I'm not gay. This guy fucking sucks. He's a silly Zionist.
straight?
That nigga that gay than the son bitch.
Gay than the son bitch.
In the bitch.
You gay or straight?
Nigga say nothing. That
All right.
what it is.
Feel like he gay or straight?
That nigga might be a little
A little bit,
Why you
yeah.
say that?
overly trying to be strong as a motherfucker.
You gay or straight?
Straight.
You think other people gonna think that?
Not in that
Feel like he gay or
10-gallon hat.
straight?
That nigga gay. That nigga a punk, man. Like, his face is making me mad, man.
You gay or straight?
Is that Austin?
I'm straight.
That's
You think
6th
other
Street.
people gonna think that?
Duh.
Like he gay or straight?
Nigga, he gay as fuck. I can chunk.
Why you
Like a fag. Look at him. Look at the way he holding his hands up.
you gay or straight?
Who cares?
Straight to the-
Who cares if they're gay or straight?
Very reckless.
Oh, no. No, we just got through shitting on Jacobin. We're not watching a Jacobin interview. Read the room. chatter. Look at this tiny hat man. Cast his son to a Nazi soldier during Pinochet unalive. So many people in what's called the Pain Massacre. He left a sausage factory called Bavaria. He's 9 kids, belongs to Schoenstatt Catholic sect. I don't understand Spanish. Why would you do that? If you like to watch this video when you're feeling down.
بسم الله كتيبة الإمداد تبع الجيش العزي تقوم باستهداف تجمع عساكر على جبهة معردي 16/10/2016 بسم الله الله أكبر بسم الله
الله أكبر
يا رب بسم الله الله أكبر
Whoa! Sheesh.
الله أكبر الله أكبر يا أبو عمر.
Holy shit, that was a rocket launcher.
يا الله هروب عساكر عصابة أسد يا رب يا الله.
Damn.
16/10/2016 يا رب.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, how have I never seen that before? Yo, 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 yo. Wow. Wow, wow. Triple wow, even. I'll raise you one more wow to your wow, wow, wow. That was like a whole fucking platoon, man. Did you see how the rocket, when it got shot, it took a couple seconds to get there. It was like went on this like parabolic arc.
This is Zero Avenue in South Surrey.
This is a palate cleanser from Jack Walk. If you're desperate, 2 minutes. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. You guys heeded my call. I was desperate. I needed some palate cleansers. I needed some inspo, and you gave it to me, and I appreciate that. Let's take a look.
And these picturesque homes sit smack on the border. This side is Canada. Across the street, the United States. No fences or concrete blocks, just a little ditch and signs warning, don't even think about crossing.
Oh, it's very secure, yeah.
And people follow the rules, except for one resident. Him. Unfazed by jurisdictional authority, he is the Canadian border-jumping kitty cat.
Illegal. What?
I think it's because he's got 4 legs, not 2. Decidedly confident, ignoring the watchful
This cat is me, for real, for real.
gaze of border agents and that machine in the sky that's as useful as the dog as far as he's concerned. Several times a day.
Cat, do you have your passport? Do you have your passport? Cat humor.
Almost every day, he shows little interest in international law and carries on his very important work of mousing.
He's a cool little cat, keeps coming back and forth
He's a
and
cool
says
cat.
hello to everybody.
His name,
right, Bob.
Louis.
Oh, Canadian,
Officially,
huh?
Louis Vuitton, like the designer. And his styling cross-border
Oh,
feline
yeah.
feats are now so famous,
I love it.
he's become a local legend and a social media
What's
star.
this all
It's a
about?
bit mind-blowing. He kind of flaunts his recklessness for the law.
Now, Mr. Vuitton is particularly good at catching all sorts.
This is so stupid. Come on. That was a terrible palate cleanser. I feel like I was watching the Hallmark Channel. I need to go do something. I don't know. Just, that was too wholesome. Those people were so boring and so white. This guy has a regrettable last name. Alexander Cockburn.
I mean, it seems to me absolutely incredible that here, you know, Wall Street's in greater disrepute in the country than at any time since what, the early 30s. Yet, it's very dubious that Obama, if he really tries, can get through financial regulation. It's going to go down because, first of all, you know, his own Emmanuel's positions are very questionable. Secondly, you know, the Senate Finance Committee and the finance committees in the House are bought and paid for. And there's no real pressure that is being pushed strongly enough. I mean, I think a lot of the Glenn Beck demonstrators, you know, it wouldn't take them much to be. It's the most stupefying sight to hear these people say that, you know, we're getting into too much debt. It shows how much incredible confusion there is out there, which is being, of course, mercilessly exploited by, you know, semi-insane people like Beck, who's, I think, a total cynic, by the way. I think those talk show shock jocks of the right are totally cynical. And
Talk
Beck,
show shock
I don't
jocks.
think he means about it. 2/3 of what
Don't
he
tell me
actually
how to
says,
run my
because remember
stream,
what he
Blood
said
Eagle.
10 minutes later.
But thank you for the
those
super.
people, I think it would be, you know, I see
know,
100
right?
articles
Get to the
come in
fucking
every day
point,
saying,
man.
you know,
God,
we hear the
wasting our fucking
footfall
time.
of fascism. The left loves to terrify itself, jumps at every...
Oh, God.
So there's different teams in this embassy CIA spying ring, and each one of them couldn't communicate with the other directly or know the parts that they're working on. They couldn't even trust themselves, it seems like. And today, as we see, there's a lot of whistleblowers that are giving us information, like the Epstein files and the files about Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo and so on.
The United States is an imperialist power, and it's one of the characteristics of an imperialist power to plant spy dens and spy networks all over a country to control all its major political, social, economical systems, and to control these systems for its own benefits. So they work for its own profits. They exploited our natural resources. They exploited our oil.
This is a really long video. It's gonna make my brain.
Hey everybody, this is Laith Marouf from Free Palestine TV, and we're right outside the former American embassy in Tehran, Iran. Before we continue with this report, I ask you to press the subscribe button on whatever social media platform
You are so savage, Saeed.
you're watching this on, and to go to our website, freepalestine.video.
I was just thinking about how eloquent, like, the youth of these countries who have been historical victims of imperialism, how much they are so insightful as to the conditions that they've been living in, and they see things so clearly as to what the United States has been doing to them, and they speak very accurately, you know. And here in the West, we're just rife with lying and deception and propaganda and indoctrination. You'll never hear. Sadly, you'll hear maybe very few, if at all, any Americans speaking as eloquently as that young girl was just speaking.
To donate so we can continue bringing you this content. The former American embassy, of course, right now is a museum, and the story is as the revolution happened, the youth from the universities around Tehran gathered.
This is old. What is old? This video probably
At this embassy and jumped the fences and ended the presence of this CIA den that was responsible for a lot of the activities of the American intelligence in not only Iran, but all the region around it. So we're going to go inside. We're going to look at how the embassy has been transformed into a museum that shows how the American intelligence and the Israeli intelligence were using it as a hub for those activities, destabilizing much of the region. And we hopefully...
I'm going to have this video on. I'm going to look for some more updates for us.
We'll be able to transmit all this information to you as we go inside.
This is a message of the students in the American Embassy of Tehran. We are not against the people of the USA. We are against of the United States policy in Iran.
We can see right behind us some of the parts left from Chinook helicopter, American Special Forces. Of course, after the takeover of the American embassy, there was the staff in the embassy that became prisoners in Iran, and the American Special Forces attempted to infiltrate Iran to, take back these prisoners. And these multiple helicopters were shot down by the courageous Iranian resistance. And, for those who are from the new generation that are living the realities today, the same special forces that attempted to take back the American prisoners in Tehran from the embassy are the same ones that kidnapped President Maduro of Venezuela. And unfortunately, the Venezuelan armed forces were unable to deliver on the same successes of the Iranian military. And, this is a sad moment for me when I bring up Venezuela, because Iran was living moments of there was a state that is very weak at the moment. There was an attempt by Iraq to invade. There was an attempt by the Soviet Union to also reach Iran by invading Afghanistan. And the chaos of
weighing
the revolution.
in with 500 tits. I'm sorry, bits. Thank you so much, Thugbone. That's fucking awesome. I appreciate your patronage here. You're a based individual.
Still, the Iranian people succeeded in stopping the Americans from entering the country and retrieving the prisoners. Now, there's conflicting stories about what happened that day. The Americans call it the massacre of the bus. The Iranians call it the success.
You actually don't use me as motivation for my workouts. It's all self-motivation, but I still stream you because I believe in what you do and I love you, but don't cross me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Lord Thugbone. Not only are you thuggish, because that was a thuggish comment, all right? I would never cross a thug like you. Thugs like you. Not only are you thuggish, but you're also ruggish.
Success in the desert of Tabas.
I'm not going to watch all this. I'm sorry. It's a really long video. He does great work. I just don't have the patience for it right now. It's a bit in the weeds, if you ask me.
The people who have more spare time to read books will tend to be the people who become Marxists. But then they go and they appraise the revolutionary potential of the masses on the basis of how close they are to being bourgeois intellectuals, and not on the basis of how close they are to being materially disincentivized from supporting imperialism. The people materially disincentivized from supporting imperialism will not spontaneously articulate their consciousness in an intellectually correct way. They're going to spontaneously articulate their consciousness as Jew, or it's Illuminati or the lizard people or something else. Spontaneously, they're going to arrive at all sorts of quacky ways of making sense of their disalignment with the system. But those are the people materially disaligned with it. Whereas the people who will virtue signal toward Marxism with greater ease because they're more intellectual are fundamental class enemies of the proletariat. Those people might be more disposed to Marxist verbiage and language because they're closer in intellectual proximity to the bourgeois intelligentsia. But as Yanis Veru Baldfuck has said, those people are the beneficiaries of the system, the salaried bourgeoisie. They may be ideologically, intellectually more sympathetic to socialism, but are they materially more sympathetic to socialism? No. And there's a big difference between being intellectually sympathetic to socialism and being materially sympathetic to socialism. The material disposition is about when push comes to fucking shove, what the fuck are you gonna do? On the October Revolution, the intellectual socialists were outpaced by the masses. You want to know where the Red Terror came from? The peasants. As soon as the peasants discovered what socialism was materially, they said, inject that shit in my fucking veins! I'm gonna fucking put the class enemy in a fucking barrel full of spikes and fucking roll them in the village and fucking crush their bones! The peasants started lynching and burning and killing the class enemy. Immediately when it was clarified to them Marxism, immediately on a material level, when revolution and socialism It was like lightning. It struck. Like, what the fuck? I've been missing this shit my whole life. They immediately jumped into action. No hesitation whatsoever. And the socialist intellectuals, they were fucking like, yo, this is fucked up. They're like, okay, I was intellectually sympathetic. But like, what the fuck's going on? They were like, I was intellectually sympathetic, but I didn't know you meant it.
That's what we call bodied. And that's also, you just see exactly why you will never see Hassan debate Haz al-Din, because he would get crushed. That was scarily good.
The people who have more spare time to read books.
But he's absolutely on point. That contradiction there, intellectually sympathetic versus materially sympathetic, rhetoric versus action, theory versus practice. It's all rolled up in that clip right there. That was really good. Yeah, I do want to take a look at this link. This is Suleiman, our friend of both friends of the show, Anthony Aguilar and Suleiman. We watched a bit of their interview yesterday, but I think he did another. They're doing another one today, but it's an hour long, and you know, it's a long podcast. We could probably play a little bit of it though. Let's see. Prol-pilled.
We all have to maintain the stupid lawn ritual where once a
Nah. I don't know. What do you? I could defer to you guys. These are the links that you have shared. We probably only have time to do. Oh, you know what? I think actually I have some other. Don't I have some other bookmarks to show? Some updates. Yeah, let's do some updates here. So the leader of Hezbollah, Naim Qassem, has said, as long as Israel is in Lebanon, the resistance will continue. Jackson Hinkle reports that the world oil reserves are falling at a record pace. World oil inventories are falling at a record pace. Total visible oil inventories in billions of barrels. Estimates from May 2026, assuming no resolution. It looks like, you see that? Just a plummeting. Operational stress level reached by June. That's where we are right now. We're at operational stress level, folks. We're almost to threat level midnight, but not quite there. But it's coming, okay? We're going to reach our operational floor round about September. Operational floor level is the minimum level required to keep pipelines functioning and refineries operating. Benjamin Netanyahu made a trip to northern Israel today, where apparently he had to hide in a bunker because of a Hezbollah attack, while he was there to reassure all the settlers they're going to be protected. Don't worry. The IDF has got your back. He says, today with our sweet children in Shlomi. Shlomi is a town in Israel, apparently, in the north, after we approved a plan of $13 billion for the north, just as we lifted up the south with the help of the name. We will lift up the north, too. This is a rare picture of Netanyahu in a photo with children he didn't bomb. Look at this. Mr. Hamburger just got smoked. Mr. Hamburger, guys, is well done. Staff Sergeant Noam Hamburger, a combat technology soldier, was killed in a Hezbollah drone strike near the northern border. He had planned a career in drone technology. Oh my God, the irony. He supported his sister through cancer and was due to finish his service in weeks. Little did he know that he was the cancer. Look at this. The mother of Mr. Hamburger, Staff Sergeant Hamburger, reporting for booty, sir. He got smoked by a drone. His mother mourns his death, says he wanted to work with drones, but one got to him first. Oh, God, the misery. They took my baby hamburger. Oh, he's now well done. Look, that's a sad occurrence. That's tragic. It's a tragedy. Let's be honest. That is a goddamn tragedy. Oh man, you know? It's just so awful to hear about IDF soldiers getting rocked, getting smoked by Hezbollah. It's just so tragic. Excuse me. Sorry, sometimes I let one slip. Anyway, moving on. It's a tragedy that they only got one. Yeah, we got to pump those numbers, Hezbollah. Did you know that Trump was negotiating with Hezbollah? That's what he said. He said he had a very good phone call with Hezbollah. To which I say, since when are we negotiating with terrorists? The first time in history the delivery went to the burger. Boom! Smoked, roasted, cooked by Saeed. Chef Saeed serving up some fresh comments. You're absolutely right. All right, so Trump has went from wanting regime change to complimenting the younger Khomeini. Yeah, who replaced the older. We saw that already. Okay, I think we're caught up with that. What is this? We made a shirt for the generation that's done dying for foreign flags, now available. Let's see. Whoa. Wow, there's a whole website called Forbidden Clothes, and they have, I guess, a bunch of shirts and sweaters and stuff it's under the tab Not Dying for Israel. Don't die for Israel. Don't get JFK'd.
Don't die for them. Don't lie for them. Don't die for them.
Don't die for them. Keep your foreskin. Don't die for them. Jewish victim of anti-Semitism claims to have Palestinian blood on his Israeli flag. Okay.
All this blood, this is from your people. This is why I knocked all you people out right here. See that blood? That's from one Palestinian. That's from another Palestinian. Yeah, record that, bitch.
Oh man, would you pop their pimple? Gee, that's devastating. Did they got a mosquito bite on, and then you just wipe the flag on their popped pimple? Man, you go hard in the paint, don't you? You little chode.
Go! Terrorists, go! 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 Terrorists! Get the fuck out of here, terrorists! Palestini Benzona! Bro. Oh, what? Bro, what are you doing? Yo! He's back up! Back up! Back! Show your face! Show your face! What is that? How come Johnson's there? What did you do to Gaza? Look what you did to Gaza!
Oh, the tiny hats are restless. You can't say the natives are restless, because they're not native. So you just say tiny hats are restless.
Fuck Palestine! Yeah! Fuck all of you! You fucking cunt! All this blood, this is from your people. This is why.
He was
The leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, he was martyred because he stayed at home. And he said, I'm not leaving my office and my home because many Iranians have nowhere to go, and so I cannot leave. And he chose to stay, even though everyone knew that he would be a primary target. Unlike your leaders and the Epstein class in your country, which do all sorts of things to ordinary people, he stood with his people and he stayed with his people. And that's why he's so popular.
Yeah.
And unlike the propaganda...
I mean, think about Operation Roaring Lion. What did Netanyahu do in Operation Roaring Lion? Yeah, he got on a plane and he fled the country to Cyprus.
That we see on your show all the time with these insane pundits who've never been to Iran, who know nothing about Iran, who just repeat these Epstein-class talking points. The Iranian people are steadfast and standing beside and behind the Islamic Republic. And as we speak, across Tehran, under missile fire, you see huge crowds of people in different parts of the city protesting against the United States and calling for the armed forces to resist. And might does not make right.
I don't like this comment from you, Eyeballs. I don't like that you slandered a piece of shit. I don't think that a piece of shit deserved to be compared to Piers Morgan, okay? Do better. Piers doesn't understand the concept of bravery. How could he? I don't think he understands the concept of having a spine.
As I learned from school, children know this. We are in the right. No matter how you try to frame it and pretend that we kill in Iran tens of thousands of people on the streets and all that fake media propaganda, the reality is the reason why Iran is hated is because we're against ethnic cleansing. We're against ethno-supremacism. Why don't you show the crowds that are 100 times larger in small cities than these crowds? Because you cannot do that. Because in order to remain on air, you have to pursue certain narratives. I think my country is under airstrikes from your criminal regime, your Epstein regime. My country, the people in my city are being slaughtered by your garbage regime. And you don't know anything about Iran, and you just talk and talk and talk, and you're afraid of me saying a single sentence. Iran is being bombed by your...
He's literally biting his lip. The only thing I can say for Piers Morgan is that at least he's brave. And speaking of brave, maybe not brave is the right word, but at least he's open to the idea of actually platforming these kinds of people that actually speak the truth. That's the only thing I can say for Piers Morgan. And he would probably say that too, but that's the only thing.
Regime, our children are being slaughtered. As we speak, your regime is...
Sort of like how I feel about Mehdi Hassan interviewing Butch Ware and Jill Stein. It's like he made himself look like an idiot, but who else? Nobody else was platforming the Green Party and giving them interviews. So, just something to note.
Bombing my country, and your regime sent in intelligence, the Israeli Mossad, the CIA, according to the former head of the CIA, according to the Mossad itself, they sent in people to infiltrate. According to Channel 14 of Israeli TV, which is close to Netanyahu, they brought in weapons that killed hundreds of police officers and volunteers on the streets. So the 3,117 people who were killed, and all of them have their ID and information, they're well known. If you have any extra names, give them to me and let's see what your evidence is. All of those people are recognized. And wait a moment. Wait a moment. And if there was one police officer killed in your country, what would the reaction be? Some young woman was turning to the right. They shot her in the face. Here they killed 200 police officers and well over 100 volunteers on the streets. And you call that peaceful protest, but you ignore the millions of people on the streets as we speak in Tehran right now. Just one final sentence.
For 47 years, you have been, your government, your regime, your media has been saying Iran is unpopular. Iran is about to fall. The regime is collapsing. And it never happened. And do you know what? That is exactly the same thing that your media and your governments would say about Mossadegh. When he was in power, they were saying he's evil, he's criminal, he's corrupt. Go and look at the New York Times, the Washington Post. It's always the same. Your problem is that we are independent and that we do not accept the Epstein class that rapes and murders little kids. We don't accept them murdering our kids. We will not allow your regime to kill our kids and get away with it.
Thank you.
The leader.
He's so based. He reposted one of my tweets yesterday, and I felt like $1 million. I got the Mom Donnie seal of approval. Man, some of this stuff is hard to look at. Here it is. Meet the new Epsteins. Well. It appears we have reached the 4-hour mark. And I gotta be honest with you, I don't have much left in the tank. What the fuck are you doing? What is this? For Saeed? Well, you're making little clips of me? Oh my God. See, this is why I need to log off. Nothing is safe with you people. That's right. I said you people. You think this is funny? I know I did this, and I have no excuse, but did you have to clip it? Like, what the fuck?
أسألك تحديدا.
Let's see, maybe one.
كيف تلقيتم خبر استشهاد السيد خامنئي في ذلك الوقت؟
No, that's in Arab. That's in Persian. Yeah, apparently Arakchi was also targeted. I did see about this, that Arakchi was targeted in the first day of the of the American airstrikes against Iran. But he survived, and apparently he's given more details about that. But I didn't say Mom Donnie. I don't know what you're talking about. I said, I want your mommy. That's what I said, not Mom Donnie. That's why I need to get out of here, because I have to go call her. She's upset with me because I haven't been giving her enough of attention. So, can I make that a chat GIF? Absolutely not. And especially not from you. Okay, I don't accept any advice from your hot dog ass. 17 more chances. All right. 16 and 11 months. That's just like the Dershowitz treatment. 17 more chances, otherwise known as 16 and 11 months. All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate all of you so much. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. We'll have a big Friday blowout. Your mom's coming. It's going to be an extravaganza. I hope you'll join me. I hope you had a fun time. I hope it was of value. I hope you got something out of it. And peace and love. Have a wonderful evening. And I will see you all tomorrow, okay? Be good to yourself. Bye-bye. Aw, Saeed, just as I was signing off, thank you so much for the 5,000 biddies. That is incredibly nice and generous. Give it up to Saeed. He didn't have to do that. Saeed gives because he cares. He's outdone himself. I'm truly, truly blessed. Thank you, Saeed. What a way to blast off. I agree. Yeah, no, I'm really blessed to have such great friends online. I'm not being parasocial. You are. but I do sincerely appreciate it. I hope you know that. You guys are all gems. Thanks to Saeed, thanks to Thugbone, thanks to everyone that has supported the stream on the daily. I know I'm forgetting so many people. Thank you to Obi-Wan especially for moderating, and J-Jax and Raven's Tongue, and I'm forgetting a bunch of moderators, Lurley and everyone that moderates the stream. I appreciate you guys are the unsung heroes. Thanks to everyone for sharing on the Discord as well. We have a really vibrant community here, and I intend to foster and cultivate it. And I'm putting in the work. You know, I'm constantly preparing for the next time we have a chance to talk, so that it's worthwhile and it's insightful and educational, and maybe we have a few laughs along the way, right? So, again, thank you very much, and I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it all again. Good night, everybody. Okay, finally, the stream's over. I fucking hate